welcome back to the Everwind Chronicles. I'm Doug, your Dungeon Master. We're a group of friends and storytellers telling you a story through Dungeons & Dragons. Where we last left off, the party had more or less succeeded in their mission in Larendil to make a deal with the wizard Araziah, who agreed to leave Larendil forever in exchange for a number of things, including the return of Valen to the party. They went and met up with Alanya, who successfully redeemed him with returning Valen to himself, but with the understanding that some things, are forever, and consequences of which still yet to be learned. The party also learned from Alanya that, also encountered Farian, the Prince of Spring, who is apparently the one who had been giving Darkfire to different people throughout the land, and all basically trying to create some sort of twisted story that he called the greatest story ever told, and that they were main characters in, and or at least characters. And he promised that they would have a shot at him at some point, but they weren't ready, and told them to go rest or get ready or do whatever they want to in the meantime. He then sent a messenger with some clues that they, combined with Alanya's thoughts, concluded that he had some interest or some reason that the Abyss was mentioned, and specifically the Emerald Dragon. They then learned from Alanya that the Emerald Dragon, who had disappeared over 1,000 years ago, did so in an attempt to rescue some, essentially sort of, you can think of him as like an elf-like version of celestial children, a celestial race called the Lithians. And that these children are extremely rare, and a big part of, like, the Lithians are a big part of the power center of certain realms, and the loss of these children could eventually lead to an imbalance in the universe that could be very, very destructive. And so Hira, the Emerald Dragon, decided to go, along with many other creatures over time, to try and rescue these creatures, rescue these children in the Abyss. And so, Alanya requests the party to also go and attempt to rescue him, believing Farian would have mentioned this for a reason, and kind of forced their hand, even though she had been keeping it a secret because of how many creatures had already been lost in the efforts of the rescue, and wanting to prevent any other good creatures from being lost to this effort. But the party then bids goodbye to Sarek and Zenoa, who both felt like they had unfinished business at home that they needed to go deal with, and so they departed after some tearful goodbyes. And the party then traveled to Lorethel, the realm of Enduriel, the leader of the Eldrin. They spoke with Anduriel a bit, and Anduriel asked for some time to think, and was guided them to each to places apparently specifically built for them, where they could rest and relax and try to recover. And then they regathered in a kind of tropical place where they could swim in coral reefs and everything, with water breathing, some sort of food item that allowed them to breathe and swim faster underwater. They relaxed and spoke, but then started getting to know their new companion, Abuelita. And eventually the topic came around to the reason she had one of the catalysts of how she got led to the Eldrin and eventually here was a dream where she saw the entire world consumed by plant life, and then from certain parts of that plant life, dark fire starting to consume the entire world as the stars around her cried out in alarm and in pain, saying that the plants were not of spring, and that the fire essentially was let me pull up the exact wording here. It was it is not of spring, the first betrayal, it should not be. And then blackness, as a female voice, more eternal and warm than you can ever comprehend, says, "This is what is." And that's where we're going to pick things up. As she has finished telling her story.
Yeah, and usually Abuelita is just a very sturdy woman. Doesn't really have, like, she's generally happy, and I think right now in this moment you see, like, the more she tells you the dream, the more she sort of withers. Not like, but she just, like, pulls into herself and just seems a little bit more frail and is clearly shaken even by just trying to recount this event to you all. So that's why I'm here.
It was very scary.
We all of us shared dreams as well, but nothing that horrific.
It's part of how we all came together in the first place is we all shared a dream together. But it was not so real. It was very abstract. There was a woman in white. There was a man with a blade that cut through everything. It was nothingness.
As you guys talk and recount that first dream, after the man used the sword and you first saw dark fire, you saw the sphere sort of wreathed in dark fire, you felt exactly the way she described feeling as she saw dark fire consuming everything, which was that confusing, overwhelming contradiction of horrible feelings, all clashing all at once, impossibly at the same time. It felt very similar in your experience to what she describes.
Well, we've seen it in real life, and it did not generate that emotion. Like, the fire itself did not generate that emotion. But you did not see this man that we've described.
No.
Or the blade that we described.
No, I just saw the world on fire. And the stars also catching fire.
I don't know where that feeling then comes from. If it is not from the fire, it is something deeper. Or are we feeling what, or whomever is sending us these messages?
That's what I was going to say. Is like it doesn't feel like these dreams are so isolated to us. Like it seems like more people have had them.
And it's certainly not proximity, because we were not near you when you had your dream.
Yeah.
We were near each other when we had our communal dream.
Yes.
Did anybody else have the dream that you had?
No, the closest is the young woman, what did we name her?
Silky?
Silky. I mean, the way Zenoa described what was going on in her head, that's the closest. It seems like she's seen very similar things, but that's the only other person that I know that has had the same.
Then how are we getting these dreams? Because it's more than just our imaginations at work.
Yeah.
Somebody can roll a history check if they want.
Who's got a good history? I only have +2.
I should say one of the three of you.
Okay.
Specifically.
I have +2.
I mean, I am no
What do you
longer
have?
historical.
I'm pulling it up, but
I
it's
am
probably 0.
not intelligent.
No,
so I
you
wouldn't
can
be
roll
helpful
2
in
actually
this.
from a different angle. You can
Okay.
roll 2.
Oh, hello! Thank you, first roll. I've been rolling a lot of 19s. 21.
Okay.
15.
Okay. With a 21, you do, as you're saying this, you do remember Hadressa saying other people, when you first met Hadressa, you told her about your shared dream and that she had said others have experienced something similar. You know Lope had a dream, and Cithris shared one with you. The one about Belladonna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who's sending them? Why are they sending them to us?
Whoever it is, it'd have to be very powerful.
Yeah.
But also, why are they choosing who they're choosing? Why would they choose us, you, Lope, anybody else who has been chosen? Has everyone experienced a dream like this? Or some variation thereof? I don't see how we are connected in order to be able to see these things.
Yeah, because when we first had it, we barely knew each other. Like a few days together.
And for all Cithris's hatred of us, he did share it with us. He also had that dream. So it's certainly not about an emotional bond between those experiencing the dream, unless there is something deeper we don't know. But it feels like something is...
It feels like a cry for help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just don't know who needs the help.
It's like screaming into the void, and whoever happens to be listening is who gets the information at the time.
Yeah, maybe we're just attuned more in some way.
Maybe we're all happening to be asleep, but I don't know if just being asleep is enough.
Would, in my studies at the temple and stuff, would I have heard or read about a god that often visits dreams or speaks that way?
We'll go ahead and roll a religion check.
Uh, 15. Is there a god of dreamland or something? You know what I mean?
No, there's no specific god of dreams. You know, you might have heard tales or sort of religious tales even of people receiving visions in their sleep and things like that. They're usually related to their god in some form. You know, like their god giving them a vision, that sort of thing. Not really, it just doesn't feel the same. You know, a group of people sharing dreams, even across, you know, time and space and everything like that. It doesn't feel the same.
Okay.
And it's not enough, too, that they just shared what they were thinking about, but what they were feeling, too, because unless it's more than one person channeling the dream, because it could explain why there's such conflict of emotions and all the emotions. I mean, yes, we can feel multiple emotions at the same time, but not at the volume that it felt like we were experiencing. It was like everyone was screaming at the same time.
Well, and then the other thing that confuses me is that, I mean, we've learned that our dream was semi-historical. Like, it wasn't a vision. I mean, it was a vision of something that happened in the past, exaggerated, but it did have moments that actually happened.
And the only way that someone could relay an event is if they were there to witness the event in some way.
Yeah, but your dream...
It's present. It was saying that that's what's happening right now.
But there's also a propheticness to it. Because we are not literally seeing it right now in front of us, but...
With your 21, I'll also give you that at the very end of your first dream was the voice who said, "This is how it begins."
Mm-hmm.
And she just describes the feeling of the voice the same way as "this is what is."
We got the past. You've got the present. Who has the future? Although, if it is a dream based on what someone or someones have seen, you can't share what hasn't happened yet.
Well, it might be what they're hoping will prevent.
Well, I would imagine that is so. But who could have been around for the beginning of it all? Who could have been in the room when they were starting the Monarch program? Who was witness to it all? Who was just there watching?
Well, we've definitely heard of a few creatures that have been around that long. The Emerald Dragon for one, the World Spider for two. Those are the first two that come to my mind.
Could the World Spider be yelling at us?
I don't know enough about it.
Me neither.
And they are missing.
I mean, whenever Duriel decides to join us, we could probably ask him. Because you've explained this dream to him as well, right?
I have not specifically to him, no. I had I talk about it with Adondra and...
Then he knows.
Yeah.
If Adondra knows, he knows.
Okay.
For all of her secrets, she doesn't seem to keep them from him.
Yeah, because I'd like to know his thoughts on this. I look for one of the, I forget, what are they? They're like jellyfish, right?
A little floaty friends?
Kind of jellyfishes.
Numu or something was the name of one?
Numu?
That's the name of one of them, yeah. You don't know what they are.
Numu, do you know if Endurio's about ready?
I can check.
I appreciate that.
Or does he want us to have a good night's sleep first?
I don't know. That's why I'm having Numu go and check.
Numu turns and floats off, passing Enthris, who's entering into this area now. And just says, "Well, now, isn't this beautiful?"
Come, sit, have a drink, have conversation.
Sounds good.
We were just talking about dreams. And the communal ones that some of us share. Have you ever... I don't know if I've ever asked you, did you ever have a communal dream?
I don't know that I would say communal, but I did tell you that a dream was what led me to meet with Alanya.
That is true. But, it wasn't specifically about the dark fire, was it?
Not that I saw.
We were trying to figure out why is it that we have all had similar dreams from different points of time, but similar emotions. Like we can feel these dreams. Like an emotional sense of the word.
It does suggest outside influence, doesn't it?
Somebody or somebody's sending a message. We just can't figure out why us specifically.
That is a good question.
Because I would honestly say if someone was looking for help, I would be one of the last people you'd want.
This may be a long shot, but part of me would not be surprised if it was Farron himself.
Why?
He's orchestrating the greatest story ever told. He
But it
needs
wasn't
heroes.
his voice that we heard.
That's a good point.
Fae are known to be deceptive.
Also a fair point.
But I mean, he would need characters and heroes in his story.
Sure, but he doesn't seem the sort that would be able to draw out such deep, visceral emotions. I don't know, something about it feels...
Past him. That's why I said I
No,
don't
I-
honestly think it's him. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
No, it
Totally
is,
not.
it is
Yeah,
a
that's
fair
fair.
point to make. Just something about the way it feels.
Yeah, because he doesn't really... have a lot of. He was
Emotional
bored. Yeah.
intelligence.
So I don't know that he would be able to portray it in a way that would.
Not feel staged or forced
Yeah.
or heightened for the sake of drama.
Yeah. It would
Sure.
feel more fake. I feel like.
I don't know, something about the emotion, especially the way
I
you've had the
agree.
experience the same ones now. There's a sincerity in the fear and desperation that it sits in
Mm-hmm.
that feels much more like someone living, experiencing it either directly or being helpless to be able to do anything about what they are seeing.
And wants you to help instead.
Yeah. And then he took advantage of a real problem for his own fun and games.
Sure.
And perhaps probably made it far worse than it could have been. He seems much more like a vulture in that sense. Not one who is creative enough to manifest out of whole cloth, but find a dead carcass and start picking at it. I mixed my metaphors there, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
Sometimes too many metaphors come to the mind at the same time, and then you're like, they're both so beautiful, why choose just one when you can choose them both?
Well, it does. I do think that if, no matter what the case is, we ought to keep all of it in mind as possible, because we are dealing with something who, as far as I know, anything about the Fey courts, they're almost gods themselves. So we don't really know what we're dealing with. It's not an average Fey.
That's true. And perhaps I should have put real emotional logic into what is essentially pure and utter bullshit.
Well, they are known for their chaos. But he does also demonstrate a strange amount of ability to plan, so... But I guess that's sort of the frustration of dealing with their kind, and especially one who is the ultimate of their kind, is their unpredictability.
In any other scenario, I would absolutely 100% be on board with someone who's holding themselves to their own particular moral code that is their own, and fuck anybody else's. But it fucks with my moral code, and I don't like that.
I don't think you believe that.
What?
Well, I think Ariziah certainly held himself to his own moral code.
Yeah, but he was icky and a piece of shit, so... Listen, sometimes I just say shit. Fortunately, I can't get away with it anymore.
Well, I'll try not to call it out every time.
Play along every now and again.
Of course. At this time, the creature comes back in, and he is willing to see you if you'd like.
I'm okay
Are we
with
even
that.
ready to have the conversation?
I mean, yeah, as much as I like downtime, this is nice, but it feels weird. So I'd rather... It feels like things are starting to move fast. And,
We don't have time for luxury.
unfortunately...
Fair.
We
A lot to
never do.
I disagree. There's...
Well, all travels are a luxury when you're with us.
No way.
I just like...
I see things have changed since I...
She focused her energy elsewhere. It's very funny to watch him because he kind of actually gives it back a little bit now and again.
Oh,
Yeah?
okay.
Yeah? He's not completely helpless anymore when it comes to flirting. Just mostly hapless.
Oh, Valen, don't get jealous. And she winks at you. And,
There it is.
Nemu, would you be able to,
I just like put my arm around you.
of course.
Keep you safe.
Protect me. A strong, competent woman.
Yeah, I'll keep you safe.
So, Numu guides you back through the various places to Enduriel's office, as it were, and leads you in, and you see.
Still just in that really nice robe. I don't even have clothes on.
True. Yeah.
That's alright. I'm vibing it.
Yeah.
You see Silky sitting in a chair, just kind of spaced out as she always is, and there's like a little small table beside her, and you can see there's a vial sitting on there, like a small bottle with this what looks like liquid gold inside. And Enduriel is sitting on. Well, strangely, you don't have any reaction to this.
Oh, okay.
It's not actually gold.
So it was more psychosomatic. Where I was like, gold. Oh wait, I don't actually feel nauseous.
Yeah, you strangely don't feel any reaction to
Okay.
this. But you see Enduriel sitting on this is kind of off to the side of the desk. There's her, and then he's sitting in a chair as well, and just seems to be kind of deep in thought. And then kind of rouses himself as you guys walk in, and welcome. I trust you found your accommodations pleasant.
Lovely. Thank you.
Yes.
Very relaxing.
Thank you.
Good.
Have you had time to think?
A bit. There is much to consider here. I have to ask. From your reading of the notes around this individual and your interactions with her, you believe it possible that this is Adondra, correct?
I'll be honest, I don't. But I think she knows a lot more about how these strings get pulled. She has an affinity towards them, and if she is not her directly, perhaps her child or one of her ilk, I don't know. She felt different and important, and she also saw things that it doesn't seem like everyone gets to see.
Which is the other thing we wanted to speak with you about, because we were just discussing these vision dreams of Darkfire. I know we've told you about ours, and we know that she's told Hadressa about hers. I'm assuming Hadressa informed you.
She has.
And Silky, she doesn't say much, but we get the feeling that she's had one of these dreams as well.
Once a note probed into her mind, she saw a lot of the same things that you said that you saw in your dream as well. There was a lot of similar visions, but her mind is so fractured that I don't know if she has the same comprehension.
I had a similar experience.
You looked into her mind?
Well, I attempted, more like. It is a very unusual mind, to be certain. I ask because I do have a way that could possibly restore her. However, it is perhaps one of the most rare substances in the universe, and I will not be able to recover anymore. And if she is merely mortal, it will likely destroy her. But if she is not, if she is more powerful, then it would have restorative effects that I believe be desirable in this scenario.
You're far more knowledgeable on these things than we are. So if everyone else is fine, I would like to leave that decision up to you. Like we had, suspicions, but do I feel that She's the world's boss. I don't even know what one is, to be frank with you, and so I don't feel comfortable making that decision.
I do.
I think we
I've
have
now
to.
made terrible decisions that I have to live with. I told a dragon to pierce someone's heart in the hope they survived. More than once now. I understand that this is a rare, rare thing that you have access to that can possibly never be in existence again. But morally, who am I to say who deserves to have access to it? Of which mind is it worthy of, if not the child who is locked inside her own mind? She seems at ease. She repeats things, but two people now have walked into her mind and seen nothing but pain and chaos. I can only imagine what it is to see and live and breathe that from the inside and not be able to do anything from outside. That is a prison that is worse than anything I would ever want. And if it can save her from her own prison, if she ends up just being some kid, then either she survives it and she is a more powerful being with access to great things, or she will finally be at peace. And she will not be locked in that prison for the length of her body's life. I don't see it a hard decision because I don't really care who gets access to this magical power. She is just as worthy as a great king. She is just as worthy as me. Or you. Or you. I say do it.
It is quite the moral quandary. Akin to asking the question if the insane should be allowed to live. Are they in too much pain to allow to survive, or do we not have the right to remove them from this world simply because they're broken? Some would call it cruel, and some would call it mercy. What do the two of you say?
I'm inclined to agree that we should try and set her free.
I am too.
And he looks at Anthras, who says, I think now is the time to take risks. It's too much at stake.
Oh, I'm fine with it. It's not a moral decision for me.
No, but
It was a, I don't want to waste this if we do find the spider trapped in another form and can't, right? You know what I mean? Like, I'm fine using it on her. It's not a moral question for me. It's a waste of resource. And I don't want to make that call to waste that resource if we needed it later. But if you guys feel that
I
she's...
understand. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
But I am getting less concerned with hoarding things. Turns out I can't even hoard the thing that I always wanted, so...
Don't worry about it. It's quite a relief for the rest of us. But if you guys feel that she's special, then let's do it. Let's not wait.
She knows things.
Mm-hmm.
What she knows, it is hard to see. And it is even harder for her to articulate.
Our dreams, did they feel... I know, like, the emotion behind it, like the blend of emotions that just seem impossible. Did the images and the way that we were receiving, did it feel chaotic and kind of fractured in the way that we're receiving them. Just like, not random necessarily, but just like bits and pieces hopping around.
There was a bit of that in the dream with Belladonna, as there were jumps.
It
For
was
sure.
like time skipping.
Yeah.
Right.
But it felt more like lucidness versus like unconsciousness.
Right.
Yeah, it's more like
skipped.
time jumps of like scenes of
Yeah.
sequential time. The other two seemed just like one scene, like you were watching a continuous one single scene. They were actually, I would say, less abstract than her dream. You just seem to be watching this this wizard-like character doing, and the woman, or in the one dream, a little girl, doing stuff, doing in particular scenes.
It was an unskippable cutscene.
I've seen it.
This is my third time through. When it comes to the quality of resources, I am the first to burn through anything at the convenience of having resources. So, if it is a conversation about resources, I will be of no help in that decision factor. But when it comes to the quality of one's life trapped within one's own mind, my heart tells me that anything that can potentially relieve any of that pain is worth trying.
Well, the potential ending of a life is, especially one that we don't understand, is not something I take lightly. But with everything that has happened, and I shall say no more at this moment than I have theories. And if any of them are correct, then it would be worth any resource to prevent. Oh, very well then.
Can I be so bold to ask a question?
Sure.
Would you turn into a puppy?
I can turn into a puppy.
Give her something safe. I don't know what will happen.
Yeah. Are you gonna do it right now, or do you need time to acquire?
It is here. And he gestures to the bottle.
Oh, okay.
How old is she again?
She looks like maybe, like mid to older teens.
Okay.
She looks pretty young.
Because she's sitting in a chair right now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get down on my knees and like hold her hand while you turn into a puppy.
Yeah, I'll turn into a puppy.
I'm just like, I don't know how she's gonna respond, and I'm like, if there's any comfort for her in this last moment, she should have it.
I just, in my head, I'm like, we're doing this because we suspect her of being like an omnipresent
Yep.
world spider.
Correct.
And you're like, little girl. And
Yeah.
we're like about to fix her.
Hi.
Okay.
We went to the Feywild
Okay.
because there was a little girl.
I got you. I got you.
I ran into the woods
but you're doing
because
this
the
because you
child
don't
was
think
crying.
she's a little girl.
Yeah, I
just-
like a little comfort.
Okay.
I just want there to be comfort.
Just visual.
Also, I love when she's a puppy.
Okay.
It's also a little comfort for me too.
Fair enough.
Mostly for you.
Yeah, because I'm now making big girl immoral decisions, and they're very emotionally overwhelming. And I also need an emotional support puppy every once in a while.
Honestly, I thought that's what you were going for. It's like, can you turn into a puppy?
I thought it was for her. Yeah. Like, okay.
Listen, it's
A little bit of both.
Column A, a little bit column A, a little bit column B.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably like also a puppy again, but I'm like a poodle, so that my fur is just really, really soft to touch.
You definitely feel my like hand is doing this like right on like one of the big poofs on the back of your neck.
Yeah.
Just going. So I'm just like emotionally trying to prepare myself for this.
Yeah.
All right. So, with puppy in lap and hand held, Andariel takes the bottle and gently holds it up to her and says, "All right, drink this, my dear." And he gently tilts it back into her lips, like slowly, and you can see it's kind of thick, this liquid, and
So we want to go from that smooth.
it says it's almost a shame I've been sitting on this for longer than I've been in Lorathel. It's very precious. Oh well.
David wants us to ask what it is.
I'll ask what it is after whatever happens.
As the last drop goes into her throat, he takes holds the empty bottle, which is not just empty, but like clean. Like there's not a single bit left. He takes it and takes a couple steps back and like observes, and you see her still with that kind of serene look, and then kind of frowns. And then you see in an instant an explosion of force, and before you have any time to react, a vision.
Oh no!
My theory was that she was the one that was sending the dreams to us.
I was thinking
Oh, yeah, because all the emotional turmoil. Oh.
I thought about that too.
Yeah, he was explaining like, I wonder if it's Adondra that's
Because hers and mine were very similar. That's why I
Uh-huh.
thought a little bit too.
Shut the fuck up.
You see a titanic, unimaginably large spider. Hundreds of legs, larger than planets, spread out across the stars and space. You see white and blue designs and symbols covering it and moving across it in patterns your brain can't follow. You start to move toward it, and as you do, strangely, the spider actually gets smaller. And as it gets closer, until it seems to lose its shape and form into an old woman sitting on a stool or a chair that you can't see. And she sits in darkness, but you see silver threads crisscrossing and stretching out into an infinity around her. You look at one of the threads and get the briefest glimpses of a face, or a place, or an animal, or weather, or a tiny insect. These are the threads of fate that influence the material plane. You see the woman in just a dark dress, her silver hair going back down until it gets on the floor and spreads out behind her, connecting to this web. You don't know if it's connecting her, or if she is the web, or if this is her making the web. You don't know. But you see she is inextricably connected to this web. And you see her reaching out and plucking threads and connecting ones and creating new ones to connect others, severing some and then reconnecting them in different places, just doing her work. And then you hear a calm, kind of curious and friendly, "Hello?" And she turns and you see, and she looks and sees what looks like a very simply dressed, slightly dirty peasant man, middle-aged. Nothing really unique or strange about him. And she says, "Well, well, Master Gamhi, you're not in my threads, though I must congratulate you. Only 2 have made it to me before, so this is quite a feat. But I am puzzled as to why. But Well, I suppose first, how did you manage it? And the peasant man sort of like, he like stretches his jaw almost like it's unfamiliar and says, and an opening was made. And I stepped through. Oh, not entirely. Only a tiny part, really. Strange. Physically bound, soft, so vulnerable. I remember being like this once. My thoughts are strange, clouded, as though I can scarcely think of more than one thing at a time. Such simplicity and unexplainable pain, like aches in my limbs. Is this normal or am I cursed? The woman chuckles, and as she continues her work, though, has a little bit of a strange look on her face, and says, cursed with humanity, I'd say. Being human is a curse and a blessing all at the same time. Cursed with aches and pains and death and trouble, and blessed with love, redemption, courage, and the ability to effect true change and do wonderful things, like leaving your realm and coming here. And he says, human. My realm? She says, the material plane. Well, what you probably just know it as the world. It's really a central world, or you could call it a central universe, depending on how you'd like to think about it. All fate's tied to it, you see. Is that what you came for, to learn how it all works? And he just doesn't seem to answer her question and just says, everything has changed since I left. I've been gone so long. Everything is divided. But I'm sure you know that. You're almost as old as I am. And she stops. What did you say? I was born when the gods took up their crowns. And the man, seemingly getting used to his body by now, just looks her in the eye and says, yes. And she squints her eyes at him and says, you are not Gamhi. What is your name? And the man just smiles, like a genuine, joyful smile. And she suddenly stands, and the whole web vibrates and shudders with a rustling wave going out from her. And she says, you, how did you get out of my realm? She points at him, and the body disintegrates and blows away in a soundless wind, leaving behind a fiery, smoky outline of a tall, thin figure with long, flowing hair, barely visible for being almost completely translucent and wreathed in black and white flame. I know it's hard to understand right now. Your whole existence lies in maintaining the arbitrary division of the gods. But that division was never meant to be. The universe was meant to be one, full of possibility. And there will be a universe like that again. What it should have been before it was ruined. But not yet. Soon. So all of this, and he gestures to the web, isn't necessary anymore. The woman, you hear a slight tremble in her voice as she says, well, good luck. I'm the only creature who can weave it. And he says, oh, my forgotten daughter, I don't want to weave it. And he reaches out with one finger and touches a strand and says, a gift, the first of many to come. The strand catches fire, and that black and white fire creeps along the strand as a look of horror crawls across Adondra's face. No, she says softly, as he says, goodbye, my daughter. You've executed your duties faithfully, but now something greater has come, and it will mean the end of all suffering. She watches as the fire spreads through the whole web, surrounding her with that strange fire. She looks behind her and sees fire closing in on the hair attached to her. She puts a fist to her chest and closes her eyes as you see tears falling down her face. She whispers something and suddenly collapses into a ball of white light that zooms into the darkness, going down into the material world, leaving behind the faint figure in a web slowly burning away across all the universe. As that white light goes down into the world, taking on a human form, where she would eventually be found by someone she didn't want to be found by. You return as the forceful explosion throws you all backwards. You all, first of all,
Lost my wild shape, probably.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I'm sorry, I just really needed a puppy.
No, that's fine.
you all take 28 points of force damage.
Would I be able to use Uncanny Dodge or no?
I think this is so sudden and unexpected, I'm not going to give it to you.
That's fair, that's fair.
This is how much damage again?
28.
28 force damage.
We all had 10 to start with from the
Which of course is going to send you out of your wild form, your wild shape.
I took one off of it just assuming I had one, and
The table and chair that they were sitting in exploding. You see the desk and various things throughout his office, like half the desk getting blown apart and shoved across the room, the whole office shaking. And it takes you guys a moment to recover. And the girl, Adondra,
Oh, she's still there.
she is there.
Okay.
no, it's the actual woman. She's just getting more performance.
Mm-hmm.
She looks around, both panicked and exhausted. It's all gone. I can feel it. It's the web of fate. It's all gone.
Can I ask a question? Did her voice in that vision sound like the voice from our vision?
No.
No, different voice. Okay.
What about him? Did his voice sound familiar?
No. No. His voice, especially after his human form was done away with, started evoking similar feelings that you had felt when you first, in your visions, laid eyes on Darkfire. And that
He is Starfire.
is a very unpleasant resonation in you.
Just because he called her daughter.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about my death and being called daughter, and I was like, does it sound the same?
No.
Flowing hair.
Yeah, the flowing hair. I was like,
No, this is as you take this moment in shock and kind of processing what you've seen. His voice was nothing like you've ever experienced before. It was not a voice, it was something else. It went through you, it was around you, it wasn't like a devil trying to deceive you, or or even like somebody like Kotak, who is psychotic and disturbing. This was like disturbance itself, like corruption itself, speaking to you,
another
or hearing it speak.
Wolverine.
Yeah, it was like even just the sound of his voice threatened to undo your spirit.
I don't like that. I don't like that. Mm-mm.
You see Anduriel recovering, and he just says, "I did not think that was possible." And she, like, her eyes kind of focus on him, and you see just like a little bit of a look of recognition, and she says, it shouldn't be, but you saw him.
Who is he?
Yeah. Who was that?
And Dariel says, "That is Lucrin."
We've heard that name before.
Oh yeah. He's the one that our Fae friend visited his room and got Darkfire from.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And also it has to do with my stuff too, with Hira. Yep.
Do you recall the creation story
Of Everwind.
and the ancestrals
Mm.
they created? And I told you there were 7 who decided to consume the universe instead of living within it as they should have. Lucrin is the origin, the one who persuaded the others to join him. If this flame is his, then it is far worse, far more powerful than I anticipated. And if Lucrin has found a way out, no, I don't believe this has happened yet. If he escaped his banishment, the whole universe would know. The whole universe would eventually end. But if the web is gone, and he looks up at Adondra and they kind of hold eye contact for a second, he says, Farian could bring him across. And you just see them, like, her on all fours, like, and him, kind of rising to his knees at this point, but they both, you see them kind of having this exchange of, like, ideas, this conversation, like they've almost forgot everybody else is in the room. And as he says that, she's like, he would still need to capture a great deal of power, like a conduit, more than he alone has. And Dariel says, who would desire such a thing? And they have this back and forth. And she says, demons. And he says, well, certainly, yet they are held in eternal stalemate by the 9 hells, and it is a balance I keep careful watch on. I have detected no anomalies. Well then, Asmodeus himself, or an archdevil, Well, the archdevils seem too wrapped up in their own infinite politics, and Asmodeus does not desire destruction of the universe. He desires to organize it and rule it. Then another Fae. With an archfey would not nearly be enough. It would have to be one of the rulers. Now, the queens of summer and winter are capable of terrible things, but I do not believe they would desire this. The lords of the razor fields. They have no reasons to desire to destroy their own hunting grounds. The astral council, then. Well, their very existence depends on the rest of the universe, so I found that doubtful. Well, then one of the Grey Lords. It's possible, but they would have to be deceived. They would not hire their services out to destroy themselves. And they continue going through strange names and just other creatures you've never heard of and things that you just have never entered your mind before, and him just sort of ruling it out. And eventually he finally realizes, kind of blinks and looks around and like almost remembering you guys are there, and says, my apologies. There's much to process. And he goes over and helps Adondra up.
Okay.
I apologize. I'm at a bit of a loss for words. That's... Lucrin is perhaps the worst of possibilities.
So you're Adondra.
Yes.
Gosh damn, we
I'm
knew.
stoic.
Sura.
I'm Valen.
Abuelita.
And Enthras.
Have you been the one sending us these thoughts and these visions?
No. No. It was... Sorry, I remember what you saw. I remember casting myself down into human form to try and escape as sort of desperation. I cast myself to one of my... I have a warlock.
Partissa?
Yeah.
That's why she was looking for her.
Makes sense.
I'm sorry to say that she is gone. She was corrupted by the dark fire.
Okay. That's why, yeah. I went to her, and she had been captured.
For the Monarch program.
I didn't know what it was called.
That is what the wizard that was helming it was calling it.
Yeah, they were trying to do stuff to me, and it wasn't working, and they just kept making it worse, and I'm in a strange position. Like, I'm human, but I'm not, and the human part of me was broken, and it affects the rest of me, and I was sort of lost in that brokenness, I guess.
The human mind fractured.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I think I vaguely remember you, but it's like a dream, like a dream you don't really remember.
You were
I
there,
think
but
you
you
guys
weren't.
experienced that.
Yeah, you just weren't
Yeah.
present. It was like you were somewhere, just observing.
Well, not very well. I don't really remember a lot since being taken.
In a weird way, your fractured mind perhaps saved you a little bit. They couldn't get what they wanted because your brain was too far in too many places that they couldn't latch onto anything in your human form.
Yeah, I don't know what they were trying to do, but it wasn't. I don't think it would have worked on me. Like, I'm human, but I'm also like I'm not, and my mind is not the same. Whatever they were trying to do to me is what they do to mortals, and I'm not mortal. I don't know what I am now with the web gone.
Can you make a new one?
I can't risk going back there.
Is there not a new place where you could make a new one? Or does it have to be there?
It's the realm I was given that connects to everything.
How do you think Lucren got there?
I don't know.
He said that he found an opening.
Yeah.
Was that the opening that
Which
our
ma-
Fae friend had made for him?
That makes sense because we've been hearing for a while that the walls between realms have been thinning,
Yeah.
and more people are more
Urban
rifts
halls.
are actually opening up.
Was that already happening before he showed up? Or is this a byproduct of him showing up?
Well, the truth is, holes and tears happen. That's part of what we're there to do, is to help, well, to protect and prevent as much as we can, but we have limitations too. There are rules, and it's hard to. I don't really have time to get into all that, but we don't know everything, and so there are holes that happen, and so it's very possible that one escaped notice. In fact, it's really, my attention is much, much broader than yours, but it's not omniscient.
Where was Lucren before?
Vanished.
I gathered that, but to where?
As best I understand, a sort of isolated realm, like a plane for that banishment.
By
Or-
himself or with the other 7?
As far as I know, with the 6 surviving Fire Lords.
Just hope more than one didn't get out.
Does he seem to be the only one that got out?
I think you saw what I saw of him, and the rest is, well, you know. So you know he's the only one I've spoken to.
It sounds like maybe not all of him got out. There was the part in your vision where he seemed to allude to not being all there.
Well, he did say only a tiny part of him.
That might explain why the whole universe is not
Burning?
burning.
Yeah.
Do they all have the same dark fire, or is there a situation where we're also now going to potentially face other manifestations of this horrific power, if any of the other ones manage to get out?
have to learn more about what happened.
Why did he call you daughter?
Well, if he's an ancestral, well, he is an ancestral, then technically we all sort of came from them. Like, all life was divided from the ancestrals that remained into what we know to be races, and at least the major creatures. Aside from the ones that the ancestrals created when they were there. But he probably views himself as a sort of ancestor, father of the universe, in some way. One of the forefathers, if you will.
Well, so you weren't giving us the dreams. That's a little concerning because the dreams kind of led us to each other and in a way to you.
I don't know anything about dreams. I don't know what you're talking about.
Someone has been sending dreams of dark fire and panic to certain individuals.
Both of the past and of the present.
And to be honest, we thought it was you kind of reaching out in your madness.
I see. Unfortunately, even mortals can cast spells that communicate through dreams. So there's a lot of possibility there.
These are more like visions.
Memories.
Yeah, almost. I don't want to say divine because I don't think that they were sent by a god, but definitely a powerful being of some kind.
And someone who would have had to have seen either at first hand or knew how to view what had transpired. With a level of detail as if they were just in the room.
Wait, I'm confused. The sword of darkness that can cut through anything. We saw dark fire in that dream as well, right?
Sword of darkness?
It was like a blade of nothingness. It could cut through anything. A man was wielding it with his...
The void blade.
Yes, the woman that was with him. We have seen her now as a child and as a woman. 2 different times and 2 different points in history. He was able to rip straight through and quite literally go anywhere.
Which might explain some of your holes and tears.
Well, the void blade would certainly be able to do that. It was created at the, well, it goes by a bunch of names. The Sundering, a lot of immortals call it, and I think a lot of humans call it the Divide. When the veil was created, the void blade was a way to tear or seal the veil, as sort of control over it, if you will.
So with it, someone could lock Lucren back in his realm?
But also
Or
cut him
free
out,
him?
depending on the wielder.
Well, I mean, with the right circumstances, yeah.
And if you have something like a fey creature that can just find where he is, because our new fey friend said he literally just walked in and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna take some of that dark fire with me." It was gifted to him. It was a means to sow chaos.
Yeah. Lucrin gifted it to Farron.
And if he wants to cause more chaos, he can very easily just point whoever's got the blade towards the correct opening and say, "Cut here."
As far as we know, we don't know who,
Where it
if
is.
anybody, has the void blade or where it is.
Our last known point of awareness is centuries old.
1,000 years ago. Yeah.
And it was when the man and the woman had it. Well, she was a child then.
A man and a child had it?
There was I described like what the man looked like. We know the man's name.
We know the man's name because my shield told us. I mean, I can't remember what it was.
Shield?
Wake him up.
Sunshine.
That's not the word.
Oh, well, no, smash. Sorry.
Oh, hello. Hello. Ah,
Sunshine!
strange place we're in. Lots of changing environments, changing and shifting about.
Sunshine, it's a very weird day.
Remember your old master that had the void blade?
Oh, the really dark thing, yeah, Ulta.
Alta.
The guy that took it from Ulta.
Oh, yeah, nasty bloke.
What was his name again?
Ditherian.
Ditherian, that is what it was. And then the woman in all white.
Well, I don't know her name.
Correct, but she was a girl then, yes?
Well, she was,
Smaller.
Well, you know, I'm a shield. I don't know if I'm very good at, estimating ages. She's smaller than you, but not quite like a small one. Small one?
She was like a medium small one.
Yeah, maybe about her size.
A teenager.
The one, you know, the one with the white hair right there? Yeah.
Yep. But not her.
Well, I hope not. That'd be kind of terrible. She'd probably try to kill you all. Yeah.
A teenager. She was a teenager at the time.
And Duriel says, would you be so kind as to explain what this is?
It's my shield. His name is Sunshine.
I see. And what does Sunshine know of this?
He was Alta's shield, the one that originally, or one of the owners or possessors of the Void Blade.
During the
From-
war, war from
Sundered?
the long time ago war, yes. When the king and then the thing and then the chaos and
Another thing.
Listen, I tune out halfway through every history conversation.
Same.
And Sunshine, you saw what happened with the Void Blade, and Sunshine says, "Oh, yeah, pretty much." I mean, saw is a sort of subjective term. I don't really have eyes, but then again, I don't really have a mouth, and here I am talking, so take it as you will. And Daryl kind of laughs, and I've always enjoyed animated objects.
That's one of us.
Well, I should very much like to hear that story, but perhaps see it as well. Would you mind following me?
Just the shield?
No, he
She'll
laughs.
just have to save the whole world.
He's got the magic touch.
He gestures to all of you and leads you through a door that's goes off of this from this office, and leads you into a room that's just kind of stone and featureless, but in the center is a large round pool, and inside is a liquid with like thick liquid, looking for all the world like paint, like swirls of paint of all these different colors that don't actually mix together, but are swirl, kind of like staying in separate swirls of color and everything. And he says, Sunshine, if you wouldn't mind, touch this pool as you tell us the story. You'll get a sense for it. And so the shield floats over and just kind of touches the bottom edge of it to the paint and starts talking. And as he does, the liquid like seeps out of the pool and rises up around you, creeping up and around you, swirling and forming into a vivid, immersive reality.
This would be cool.
I'm a little nervous that this is kind of normal now.
It's my first time in the holodeck.
And you see, at first it's just dark, and you hear the shield is kind of going, hold on a second. Oh, okay, I see. I think I'm getting the hang of this. And you start to see some definition coming in, and it's like, oh yeah, okay. Once you get the trick of it, it's actually quite easy. And so the shield starts talking and describing the scene as you see it in front of you. Night. Squat, rolling hills stretch out to the dark horizon. Fires, large and small, dot the landscape, each revealing the horror below. The entire landscape is covered in bodies. Humanoid bodies of various races lie slaughtered amidst the carcasses of nightmarish horrors, ranging from tiny to some the size of houses. Tattered banners, torn and bloodied, all carrying the crest that you've seen before of the Empire of Sun and Moon. On a hill, amidst the chaos and aftermath, some ways back from the sounds of battle in the distance, a regal figure bearing a golden crown, Emperor Tullithus himself, stands among three other figures. A sun elf, skin with a golden tinge and a handsome face framed by long hair with a few streaks of gray, named Manethel. At his side, a woman with red robes trimmed in gold, reddish-orange skin and long hair that seems both hair and fire at the same time, that moves oddly as she does. A fire genasi named Janara. And a third figure, a hulking man easily 10 feet tall, with dark gray armor trimmed with red, like an ancient version of the armor that Shilara wore, with an immense great sword strapped to his back behind a shield, and at his hip a sword that looked tiny strapped to his frame, with a hilt completely black, as if cut out from reality itself. Ulta, champion of the Empire, and Malkurian. Then, as they talk and look towards the sounds of the battle, the half-giant turns his head and calls out, "Behind!" The group turns as the sun elf suddenly casts a spell and a dome appears around them, slowly, rapidly layering 9 colors around them. There, across a small dip to a connecting hill, stands an old man with a long, grizzled beard, black robes trimmed in gold, the man you've seen in your dreams before, the man that the shield called Ditherian. The sun elf steps forward and says through the dome, "You, why have you come here?" And he says, "I have waited a long time for a moment of vulnerability, and now you are. The Sun Elf says, I think you'll find us equal to the challenge. Darthurian grunts and walks forward slowly, his eyes darting across the group watchfully. He reaches the edge of the dome of multicolored light and kneels down, placing a crystal set in a pewter pedestal at the edge and pushing it into the wall of light. There's a vibration as shimmers are sent through the dome, and then rapid fire, one by one, the layers of colored light dissipate. Red, green, blue, purple, the dome disappears and the crystal crumbles into dust. Manethil rapidly begins weaving a spell, but is cut short. The moment the dome disappeared, a figure appeared behind him. A girl, perhaps 16 years old, wearing a silky, silvery white dress and a similar silky blindfold, appears behind him, almost like in a jump midair, with her legs tucked under her and a pair of sickles in her hand, and with one clean cross stroke beheads him and sends his body tumbling down the hill. The fire genasi, Janara, calls out, "No!" and lets out a blast of flame, but the girl's already disappeared again. Ulta, despite his size, is shockingly quick, his eyes barely darting sideways as the girl appears behind him, but he is already turning and locks a massive hand around her throat and then unleashes a massive punch into her chest and sends her flying across a small valley to the other hill across. Her body cushioned a little bit from some sort of magic, but still hitting with some impact. And then she just sort of floats gently down to the ground. Ulta steps forward and says, "I challenge you to holy combat. Let the gods judge our causes." She tilts her head, and Ditherion looks at her and just gives a sort of dismissive flick of his chin. And she then turns and nods to Ulta and begins slowly, lightly walking across the bodies as if gravity doesn't really have a full hold on her. Ulta draws the immense greatsword from his back, easily twice as thick as a normal greatsword, and at least as tall as he is. He then pounds his chest, his armored chest, and says, "For Malkurian!" And a shield jumps off his back and sets in the air. The two engage in a stunning and titanic struggle. Him with massive strength and power, mixing his strength and training with divine magic seamlessly. Her with oddly quick movements, teleporting in and out of positions very difficult to catch, continually cutting him and bringing out terrible magic of her own as she does. They fight for what seems like an eternity, but is not even a minute long. And the group, watching this, doesn't notice as Ditherion stealthily casts a spell, and suddenly Janara cries out as 12 corpses rise up around them. She then turns and starts unleashing spells as she defends the Emperor from them. And then, as that distraction is occurring, the girl suddenly disengages from Ulta and floats, like tucks her legs again and floats backward away from him. And Ditherion points a finger at the weakened Ulta and says, "Die." There is no cry. There's no last words for the champion of the Empire. There's only the hulking figure abruptly collapsing with a heavy thud to the ground. The Emperor's face, noticing, shows a flash of pain and then rage. He yells, "You would violate the terms of holy combat? You would shame that one of the gods' greatest champions?" Ditherion says, "I care not for your traditions, and I spite the gods." And he begins to walk forward. And the Emperor says, "So in the face of the destruction of our world, you come to assassinate me?" And Ditherion just goes, "Tch." He's not walking toward the Emperor, but toward Ulta. "You rulers always think of yourselves as far too much." He approaches Ulta's remains and kneels down, a spark flying as the sheath of the black sword separates from the belt. Janara, having slain the corpses around them, says, "No, you would doom the world. We need it to seal the demon prince away and heal the rift." "I do not care about your world. You have no idea how tiny you truly are." The Emperor says, "If Dantalix prevails, more will come. They will find their way into all parts of the universe, to every plane. Every living creature will face their own mortality in the face of such a wave of destruction, including you." And Ditherion says, "Only if you're mortal." With that, the woman steps up beside him, and a black mist shrouds them both and then dissipates, and they're gone. The two remaining figures stand there in shock. And finally Janara says, "Sire, without the Void Blade..." And the Emperor says, "There is another way. I believe in contingencies, and I've already sent a party. They are our only hope now." And they take a moment and look kind of mournfully down at their slain companions. And the Emperor says, "Janara, there's something else. You need to prepare yourself. Even if we succeed and seal the rift, the Empire will not survive." And she says, what do you mean, greatness?" "Without the Void Blade, such events could happen again, and we will not have the means to seal any of the tears that may occur. The magic that crosses the veil is simply too dangerous." And she says, you would... Surely there's another way. The impact on commerce, on military operations." He says, "As I said, the Empire will fall." And she says, "But they're going to blame you, that you weren't strong enough to recover from this, even if we win." And he says, "Then that's the price I have to pay. And unfortunately, I have to ask you to join me in that. So prepare yourself, Janara. You are Master Sorceress now, and I lay upon you a heavy burden. First, we have to win this war, and then if we do, we have to seal away all magic related to teleportation." The vision around you fades as the shield raises back up into the air, and well, I think that's it. I think that's the important parts. Unless you really want me to talk about like the storage. I spent a lot of time in storage after that.
Smash.
Yeah.
Pick up my shield.
Could have been something good that they stored.
Think of all the things you could steal.
The non-gold.
So, he's a bit annoying, but he's actually a pretty renowned shield.
Mm-hmm. What do you make of all that?
He just seems to sink deep into thought, and then sort of wanders out the room. Just back towards his office.
What was the contingency plan?
That we don't know. But somehow he sealed away all teleportation magic in order to keep the possibility of them from getting back over, or maybe more rips happen that way or something.
Yeah, more
Certainly.
people bouncing between realms.
Yeah.
Certainly limits.
If they limit it.
Yeah.
But that means that the Empire before... That means our world used to live freely amongst the ability to just
Yeah.
converge and congregate wherever the fuck we felt. Pop over to the Feywild and pick up something.
Or even in your own realm, like go hundreds of miles in a short period of time, because you can't do that either.
We
Across
wouldn't
the
have to
planet.
traverse on
We
some...
wouldn't have to walk. Or take boats.
Listen, I know that is a petty thing to think about, but fucking hell, that would have made a lot of this work a lot simpler. Historically, though, how did they
Azariah
seal?
has some of that.
Huh?
Azariah has some of that.
The mortar and pestle.
All of his books on lost magic.
Mm-hmm. Well, we also have the mortar and pestle.
Yeah.
Lets us actually traverse.
We can do the teleportation
yeah.
right now.
Lucky.
You're part of this group?
Oh yeah. I'm lucky.
More importantly, it can help us traverse to where we have something of somebody's.
Mm.
For example, maybe your husband.
I don't really have anything of his.
I haven't read the Mortar and Pestle. Is it plane shift or is it?
Yes.
I don't have that inventory, so
I'm only curious because if that's
Yeah,
the
he's
case,
a teleporter plane shift.
well, if
Yeah,
that's the
some of
case,
it's restricted too, so like you're gonna have to.
I'm just wondering if we should like get a piece of Silky's hair or something, because I know there's some plane shift spells or teleportation spells where you have to have
Something of the person.
you have to have an
Yeah,
item.
It
we have to have-
improves your
we have to have
chances.
something of the
From
place
from
we're trying to
that
go.
You
realm.
can cast transport via plants
Yep.
once per day,
Yep.
which
Okay.
is within a realm.
Yeah.
To a plant you've seen to a tree of adequate size that
Sure.
you've seen before.
I want to know.
The other one is you can grind up something. Let's see, command word. You can throw out the dust or paste of something ground by the mortar and name a location on a different plane of existence or a different world on the material plane if that material came from a creature native to that plane.
Okay. Sweet.
The mortar travels through an empty night sky to an unoccupied space at that destination.
Okay.
So in other
what-
words-
so we want Silky's hair.
Well, the thing is that her body right now is a human body.
Yeah, but she's
You-
but we don't want to go to her plane. It's burning.
It is, but we should.
I'm just saying that, like,
Okay.
right now, like, her vessel is not her.
Yeah. And just to be clear, it doesn't travel to her. It
No.
travels to the realm she's from.
Correct.
And you don't know where within that realm.
I know. I'm not even saying we're going.
Yeah.
I want a little bit of her hair in a vial because, like,
Okay.
you never know.
Now we're just gonna collect things from different people. Here, we just
I have an entire jar full of eyeballs that I don't know
From
where
the-
they're
Just
from.
randomly
But
teleport.
did you get those from the Fey realm?
no.
They were
Any-
from that cave.
Anything that we got from the Fey realm, we can pop back now.
Sure,
That's all I'm saying.
Sure, but also I have a jar full of eyeballs from whom's the source of those eyeballs I do not know. I don't know if those are human eyes.
It'd be really fun. to
And
just
wise.
Pop them.
Just
Like, where are we gonna
pop
show
'em and
up? What plane are we in
We will,
today?
Yeah.
Just saying, I have a jar full of eyeballs.
We got a side quest now. Just see where all the eyeballs go.
I've been carrying this since day one. That was like the first thing I had in my like personal inventory was that fucking
And yet,
jar
that
of
was the
eyeballs.
item you picked.
Yeah.
What?
in our
Yeah,
quest.
but that's because it's precious. Also, I wanted to point out that I still had that band of loyalty. I was like, I've been sitting on this for a long ass time.
Okay. So he walked off.
Yep.
Great.
I mean, we
Yes.
can probably just go follow him.
I feel like he's going to be lost in thought for a little while.
Yeah.
We'll look at, did Adondra walk with him, or is she still just like hanging out
After
here?
a moment, she followed him. And Thris says, yeah, perhaps we should.
Yeah, okay. Guess we should follow them, I guess.
Nothing else to do here.
Yeah.
Or take a nap.
So you just walk back through the door into his
Yeah.
office, and you can see him sort of pacing, and he starts talking and just
Find
sort
a
of
squishy seat
out
to just sit
loud,
on.
and he says, "So Ditherion acquired the Void Blade. The first dream you had, you said he was in darkness, but then used the Void Blade and saw Darkfire. Varian said he found a series of holes and followed them. Gods. So Ditherion stole the Void Blade and used it to cut through the planes, eventually crossing beyond the known planes. And at some point he pierced the veil into the realm where the 6 Fire Lords were banished. Later, Varian found this string of holes, like a continuous rift through the layers of the veil. And eventually he too reached that plane and there met Lucren, who gave him Darkfire. So we're also going to have to find Ditherion. That will not be an easy thing if he has disappeared into the beyond the known planes.
And that is no longer a girl that is with him. Who knows how much stronger she has become over time.
I would imagine quite so, and he is all, even at the time of this vision, his comment about not being mortal. I think it is likely that he found the way to become a lich.
Like those that had taken hold of Karandia for so long.
Well, those were necromancers, right? Like, I think Lich is a step up.
But the Lich
Well,
was one
there
of
was
the...
one some 200 years ago.
Yes, that's
Oh,
we went to
okay.
there.
Shazran.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought you meant the ones we fought so
No,
far.
no, no, I
The
meant,
one-
like,
No, you fought
the-
one of his creations,
Yeah.
the gigantic skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
The sea
Yeah.
giant skeleton.
What do we know about Ditherion, other than what was just seen in the vision? Is that a
Liches
name?
used to be wizards or warlocks or sorcerers.
I think they could be wizards or clerics.
Was it anyone can be a Lich if they're willing to be dicks about it?
I imagine it's possible for anyone if with the right.
Assholery?
It is exceedingly difficult as a process.
I feel like I've always heard that was wizards that become liches.
Either way, we know that that's
Really?
what that he's most likely one. So
Mhm.
I believe it is mostly wizards because it is so difficult and so complex, and most wizards are most wizards of great enough power are people of great intellect. And one need not, some of those other, such as a warlock, need not be a great intellect to become a great power.
I'm right here.
I mean, no offense.
You just gotta sell your soul.
But the
that's
gift
all.
is not through study. The gift is through
Yeah.
loyalty, really. And liches don't require loyalty. They just require logic,
Oh.
knowledge.
And money.
So now we know the parties involved. We just don't know
How to find
how to
them.
find them.
Yeah.
Who was he before? He was obviously an adversary to them, but He was already an old man. He didn't just
Obviously a powerful wizard of some kind.
somebody that they knew.
Mm-hmm.
They'd crossed paths before.
It's possible he had gained some repute at that point, and enough that they knew who he was. Perhaps he had crossed paths with them before, as you said. They did not seem friendly.
Hmm. But they also seemed to underestimate him. They were
Well.
easily distracted by...
The dome that Manethel cast is one of the most powerful spells known, so it would have caught me off guard as well. Or at least would have been a bit shocking. I like to think of myself as quite prepared, but then again, and he looks around his destroyed office and says, I've been far too long out of actual danger and I'm getting sloppy.
I don't remember exactly how the war ended. I know that everything was eventually sealed. And I know that somehow the Targonian Empire sits upon it. The seal, right? Yes?
Well, after
But so what was the contingency plan?
there was another party, not unlike yourselves, adventurers, who had begun developing a reputation themselves, and they were the ones who were able to acquire the means, apparently at one time magic that was able to be used to finally seal Dantalix and away in the rift, healed. That was a party you can study in history. They're a different story, but they're documented, at least in a biased way, as great heroes because, well, they were.
What were they called?
The Lion's Blood.
The Lion's Blood.
They,
It's not a powerful name.
well, one of them requested a boon you would have heard of, who requested a place of safety for all the various unusual races throughout the land, a place that was given to them, now called Cento.
Yes, above, beyond the mountains.
Yes.
Isn't that where all the, weird art kids live?
It is a very unusual place. Yes.
I feel like a lot of art kids are from there. What was it again? Lions.
The Lion's Blood.
Lion's Blood.
Yep. Sounds way too confident to be a group of adventurers.
But like the Dark Dragon is way
From
more
best as I understand, most of them sort of, I guess you could call it, retired after that. They sort of faded from history after that event, so...
I would too after sealing off a great darkness. I wasn't, that's a lie.
Depends on how hurt you were.
Or how you had to acquire the necessary power.
So the words at the end of your dream make sense. This is how it begins. If Ditherion pierced the veil,
And left an opening for someone to take advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
and this is what represents this Lucran's fire spreading across the universe. Adondra, do you know how to put out this fire? And she says, no, it's not really fire. It's fire, but it's not fire. It's part of him. It's consumption. It manifests as fire because that's close to how fire works. Fire consumes things. He is consuming the universe. The things that are burning with dark fire is him consuming the universe.
But for as powerful and dangerous as fire is, you need only remove one thing from its source and it dies instantly. It needs oxygen in order to function.
Yeah, but this isn't fire. It's
I know,
pure
but
consumption.
if it manifests itself physically like fire, would it not just need something to stop its one source of power?
I think sending whatever exists of Lucran in this universe back to where he came from is the only way.
It's the oxygen?
That's the oxygen. I think that's him.
Sealing away fire does prevent it from consuming anything else. And when one studies ancestrals, one blurs the line between reality and analogy. His consumption is an analogy to fire, but it is not actually fire, and so it doesn't react quite the same way, but it manifests itself that way, perhaps naturally, because that's how he thinks of it, perhaps. As we said, we're dealing with beings who, to them, this is not even magic, this is just reality. This is...
Sure, but the great thing about reality is you can bend it into everything you fucking want it to be.
Well, and that's what they did. And that's...
Then why cannot we?
The universe of possibility that he described is what the twins originally created.
So what now? We know Farian is going to most likely make contact with us again at some point when he feels we're ready to confront him.
Now you've told us about the mission, right?
What to the abyss from
Yeah.
for here? Yeah.
I mean, we have a mission to go after Hira.
Seems like a pretty good next step.
It was the next step in our manifested story that he is manipulating.
Back to Karandia.
Pardon?
I thought we were going back to Karandia.
We were gonna drop off entries in Karandia.
It will be hard to get to the abyss.
There are many ways to get to the abyss. Just
What's
depends on which door we take to get there.
It's locked off or
Yeah.
locked away, isn't it? Yeah.
But you said that there was more than one way to get in. There's a city once we get there. It's just which door we go into. Well, metaphorically.
Well,
Yeah, rumors on entrances, right?
entrances to the abyss would be rare, and most likely either hidden or guarded because of what they represent. And most of them sealed if possible, or at least permanently blocked off. There is one that I am aware of that is most likely true, which is rumored to be under the fortress of the Dreadlord.
Yeah.
Where is that again?
Ishti.
Ishti.
Do you happen to have... Oh, I really wanted to go to Ishti. Do you, in your plethora of things, do you have an object from the abyss?
I have never been there myself, though it was tempting at a time, for it certainly holds secrets. It is a place of destruction and nightmare and a very intense risk. It is not meant for living things. It's not meant for
this is where you guys want to go.
But he
Where
needs
we
to
have
free
to
his
go.
dragon.
It's not that we want to go, it's we have to
Mhm.
go. Not only is Hira there, but also those children.
And if the web is gone, then the Eldrin, what little of us are left, is the only thing holding the universe, holding back anything that threatens the veil.
Okay, so then how do we get from here to Karandia to Ishti?
Can you not just pop us into Karandia? Ishti's next door to Karandia. And if we go to
Or
your...
a pestle.
You gotta have something from there.
You're talking about
Not for the... but we need to see the... We need to see a tree.
You need to see the tree.
Well,
Yeah.
we still have our ability to use our feet and get horses. Plus, where you are from, and I look at Emperor's, your region is closer towards Ishti. So could we not drop you off in your region? Would that be better for you to be back in your town, or would you need to be back in Eldwin?
Both.
Yeah, we probably should check in on our house.
Or you go to Eldwin and then get horses and ride out to Ishti.
And Duriel says, if it makes the decision easier, I am not able to send you directly to Ishti. I no longer have a functional circle there. But I can send you to Karandia.
Well, then I would say Karandia is the best bet because
I
it
agree.
is significantly close, and I do not want to be sent to like Droam or something like that. I never know how to say that right. Did I say that right, Droam? That's the wrong one.
Yes.
That's on the other side of Ishti.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I may not be as very well traveled, but I did study maps. Mostly so I wasn't dumb enough to walk into a stupid location and get myself fucked over. I knew Karandia would be better than anywhere else.
Ishti is due east of Karandia, so
It is where, what's her face is
I
from?
know.
Mhm.
That's why I'm very excited to go there. All right. Well, what do you need before you can send us to Karandia?
not much. I can send you there whenever you like.
Can I just have 5 minutes?
I know. I think we should stay the
Just
night.
a nap.
Yeah. And
Please, I know
we don't
time
get
is
a
of the
lot
essence.
of we don't get a lot of safe downtime, and this may be the last we have for a while. Are you going to join us?
Yeah.
Have you been to Karandia?
No, I don't think so.
Gotta love it. It's very nice.
We could get some supplies there too.
We have a house,
Yeah.
and we have lots of resources there.
Oh, nice.
We have some connections, so.
Plus, Enthos has a beautiful home.
Yes.
Oh, I wish Sanoa could see it.
Have you been to Ishti?
Mm-mm. I just have heard Hedressa had also talked about that there was potentially an entrance there, so.
Okay. Well, looks like we settle in for the night and ready to go in the morning, right?
Yeah. And any and all information that you have about the portal and
Mm-hmm.
where it is, what is potentially guarding it, any knowledge will be helpful.
Well, if it is under the Dread Lord's fortress, then it will likely be guarded by the silent ones, or they go by different names. The ones with their mouths sewed shut.
That's what did she call that? What did she call them?
Can you remember her name? Because like she was like a princess.
Yeah, she was like a princess of that region.
If she's back, we have some like
Your
some clout.
connections.
Mhm.
Glaive.
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 That was her.
Two
Yeah.
glaive.
Yeah, two Glaive.
That was
That was her
her
fiction
companion.
name, though. That was not her
Yeah.
real name. It was Glaive, and then the guy that was with her. Oh shit, what was his name?
You're a druid, not a cleric. We don't have a cleric anymore.
Nope.
Can druids like talk to the dead? Maybe.
No.
Just call it.
I think
bear.
certain one.
Just call it bear and ask him.
Oh man.
Anything you want us to tell her?
Hello? Knocking on death's door here.
We're gonna go see your girlfriend. Anything you want us to tell her?
No, that's so sad.
Too soon.
Yes. It'll always be too soon.
Do we need to do anything about like research
She
to
called
try
him
and
the silent.
find Ditherion?
She called him the silent. Okay. Sorry, what?
Ditherion, do we need to be looking for signs of him? Because eventually we're gonna need to find him, right?
So,
I mean, we do.
I was confused because it sounded like you said that the lion's blood found him and sealed the hole. Or
They
was that
found the
He
hole
found-
and sealed the ribs.
Lucarin.
No, they found
Right?
an alternative way to seal the rift that Dantalix, the demon prince, had come
Okay,
through.
Sorry, I was getting Dantalix and
Ditherion.
yeah, confused. That's why I just wanted to clarify that they were
It's Ziri!
Ziri.
Azir, yep.
Ziri.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I knew I had it in my notes somewhere.
Okay. So
It is possible, but I also imagine that if knowing Abyss politics are both complex and simple at the end of the day, and if Dantalix managed to almost successfully invade the material plane upon his return or subsequent destruction or exile or whatever happened there, if he was still functional, he would most likely be weakened and most likely pounced
that's-
upon by his fellow.
and that's fine, but so yes, we are still gonna have to keep an eye out for Bacteria because he was not the one that was sealed.
Yeah. We're gonna find, see if we can find anything on him. Any research? Maybe a phylactery.
Phylactery.
That's what liches. That's what kind of houses their soul or whatever. It's what keeps them alive.
Okay.
Makes them eternal or immortal.
Okay.
If the rumors about this entrance are true, it will exit into the first layer of the abyss, within view of a place called the Desecratorium, a fortress city and trading point of sorts, within Broken Reach, which is what most call the first layer. You will need a guide. And unfortunately, there are not many who can do so in this place. At the Desecratorium, there is only one inn that welcomes humans, called the Weakling's Way. And if he's there, there is a dark dwarf named Holgan.
Holden.
Holgan.
Holgen.
Who has been utilized by certain members of the Eldrin at different times over time. Who always seems to keep his word. So,
And so he may be able to guide us through the abyss.
yes.
Okay.
Is there anything that he particularly desires or wants in exchange for the assistance that he offers?
I believe he will accept gold.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, we'll take care of it.
But I do highly recommend striking whatever bargain you can with him, because the Abyss is far worse than the Phalite for all its ability to get lost, and every single layer of the Abyss is a nightmare. It is the worst place in all the universe, and it is extremely dangerous. With that in mind, as much as possible, don't draw attention to yourself. There are vile things that could tear any living creature to pieces. And the demon princes tend to have eyes everywhere. And if they discover your presence, they may see it as an invasion, or may try to extort you, or may simply wish to exercise their terrible nature upon you. I have also found when traveling cross planes that it is good to keep magical items on you. Gold is not always valuable or interesting, but magical objects tend to be rare. So it is best to keep a few bargaining chips. Understand that demons are creatures of chaos and destruction. Many of them are little more than beasts who seek to destroy any and everything, even if they have the appearance of cuteness or appeal. They are not to be trusted. They are destructive, but many are also quite intelligent, especially those in power. You have to understand that unlike many parts of the universe where law exists, the creatures of the abyss respond only to strength. So the higher up in authority a creature is, the more powerful it is. It only holds there by being stronger than anything else below it. Lastly, I would advise staying focused on your goal. There are likely to be many temptations, distractions, tricks, especially if Varian is involved. He may also put his own hat in the ring to try and distract you. And if you do need to pass anywhere close or on the same plane as the Mother of Demons, I cannot stress enough, do not fight her, whatever you do. She is argued by some to be a god in her own right, like Asmodeus. She is beyond all of the Eldrin combined, and she can call armies of demons to herself. If you are to pass her palace, I would advise devising some sort of distraction, something worthy of the Mother of Demons' attention. Fortunately, any noticeable encroachment into her territory is likely to draw at least part of her attention, so the bigger the distraction, the more of her attention you might grab and allow you to slip by. Unfortunately, I do not know very much about her plane specifically. But the abyss itself is infinite. It has layers, but an infinite number of layers, and each one of them infinite. It is a horrific place, so be prepared. Do everything you can to prepare. Gather any supplies you need beforehand, because nothing there would be trustworthy to be edible or drinkable. I don't have much in this realm that I can give you because of the restrictions of travel here. I don't keep much here that is able to be taken back, but I can give you a few things that might help. He gives you 3 spell scrolls of sending.
Helpful.
Mm-hmm.
He gives you a scroll of protection from fiends,
Helpful.
a potion of aqueous form.
Aqueous form.
Mm-hmm. Look it up. And he says, and if by some poor circumstance you do encounter, Ditherian, sometimes the simplest things can have a great effect. And he gives you a spell scroll for silence.
Hmm.
Now, I know that time is short, but we must all wage war in a sustainable way. So take the night and rest, truly rest. Stoic is right that it might be the last one you receive for a while. Rest where you can and enjoy, and allow yourself to enjoy what you can, where you can. And hopefully let it remind you why you fight in the first place. I will see you in the morning.
Thank you. As people are trying to skirt out, though, I do want to, stop him for a second.
Mm-hmm.
What was the mirrored dragon's name again?
Alanya?
Alanya. I have a question for you regarding the safety of this space. Alanya gave me a gift to help me better understand my past. Or my heritage. I am not sure I understood exactly what I was going to see. But it's going to remove a shadow that had been cast upon me as a child. One that was for my protection. And I don't know who is going to be able to see me once it is gone. I can't run indefinitely as the shadow continues to fade. And part of me thinks if I don't look soon, I might never look at all. But I don't want to bring any sorrow or pain upon this place. So if I look and the shadow is gone, will someone be able to see into here? To find this place?
I believe this place to be adequately protected. But one can never guarantee anything.
Would you prefer that I wait until I am back on the material plane? For the safety of this place and those that inhabit it?
Well, I suppose if one considers the risks, I suppose it makes sense that if there is the risk of drawing the attention of something undesirable, it does not become aware of this realm. If it is that powerful, it would have to be very, very powerful to break the protections, but
I don't know what I am going to see. But I know that I have died now more than once, and something great and powerful looked back at me and called me daughter.
then perhaps there's wisdom waiting.
How do you handle being an arbiter of so much knowledge? To be aware of so much?
Well, I have told you that I did not have the best of intentions for a long time. And then discovered some very powerful things and realized it was the end of that road was not where I wanted to be. But unfortunately that involved looking in a mirror of my own, a quite mundane one. And I find that to be perhaps the hardest thing one can do. Far more difficult than anything the Eldrin have faced thus far. But I also find that the river that threatens to drown is also the one that fertilizes the land and allows for great growth.
I will take tonight to mourn my ignorance, for I will never have her again.
That is a good way to look at it. But do so with the hope that perhaps on the other side of whatever you face, there will be something far better.
I will do my best to hope. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
And I think we'll take a break. So, we're going to take a quick break and be back in a few minutes and continue on. Be right back.
My brain is so full.
All right, welcome back. Hope you had a good break. Let's get back into it. So, you guys disperse from Induriel's office. What would you like to do?
I just start heading back towards my room to kind of get myself situated and organized for the night. I don't know if I run into anybody as I'm heading out to just let them know like I'm going to bed.
I linger until everyone kind of leaves, and then I try to sneak my way back into the room with the pool.
Okay, I'd say, yeah, he probably notices you, but
Sure, I'm not trying to be super sneaky.
he doesn't stop you.
Okay. I would like to go and stick my fingers in it, and I want to try to recall the last memory of my dad.
Okay.
And see, just because it's been so long now that I'm losing it visually, and so I'm hoping that I can recreate it around me to kind of just take one
Okay.
last look.
So you put your finger in there, and you feel this kind of cold, like kind of cool sensation seep through you, and it's like it connects to you, like to your mind, in a very kind of strange way. And it takes you a second, like you understand what the shield was saying now. It's like it's weird, and you feel connected, and you start to get the idea of like being able to manipulate this, but it's weird, and it takes you a few minutes to like really get the hang of it. You don't know why it's taking you longer. Maybe because maybe the shield is inanimate, and so is this stuff. So maybe it just,
Sure.
who knows? But it takes you a little bit of time. But as you do so, it starts to feel a bit like, like learning to throw a ball, and it's like you eventually figure it out, and it just starts to click, and that's the best way you could describe it, is like learning how to use a muscle you've never used. But eventually you do get it and start forming a scene. Do you want to describe it?
Yeah, so what builds around me is a small room, hay bed with me sitting in a chair next to the bed. It's the morning after the attack, where Sebastian is lying in bed and telling me that he is actually my father, and giving me his last words before he passes. And he was a handsome man for an older man, salt and pepper hair, small goatee. Doesn't look frail, even though he's on death's door. He still looks strong and cheerful. And I just kind of sit and stare at him for a little bit and make sure that I re-imprint the memory of his face before slowly letting the image dissolve. And then I will go up to bed.
Yeah, and you also, can't help but notice also the younger stoic who looks, and you're just sort of struck as well at not just the youth of it, but the less you look in the mirror today, and it's like you can tell, there's a harder edge, and there's
I'm a little road worn.
Yeah, you just feel different, more worn, but also stronger. Not all bad, just more mature, more. Just is the first time you're seeing a stark contrast from who you were to who you are today, like side by side, in a way that most people don't get to see.
Yeah, because that was, what, a year ago now? I think since this whole thing started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So with that, as you let the colors fade and seep back into the pool, and seeing that and seeing your father's face again in detail, you head back to your room.
Yep.
I think it's funny because you and I had the same idea, but in different ways. Because as I go back into my room, I ask the little, I don't know what my little octopus friend's name is.
You haven't asked.
I asked my little floaty friend what their name is.
Piccoli.
Piccoli?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have the ability to change my environment at all?
A little bit, yeah. If there's some way we can make it a little bit better.
Could you turn it into nighttime, but keep the warmth of the day?
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah. There's you should see a little device, and, she points with a tentacle over to the side
That's
where
right,
you
that's
didn't
right.
notice. There's a device similar to the one you saw in the tropical
Yeah.
area, where you can
Change
set
the dial.
time.
I'll set the time to, about an hour after the sun is completely set, so it's mostly that bluish blackishness, but there's that, ever so slight along the horizon, that, tendril of light still there.
Yep.
And then I look kind of back out on that balcony at, that distant city and the kind of vast sand. And I look back at her and I go, can I make one more request?
If I can do so, yeah.
And I kind of point to a space kind of out in the open desert area. Could you put a small campfire and a couple figures around it? Tieflings. Send their laughter along the breeze to me.
Well, you have to give me a few minutes.
Of course. And while they're doing what they're doing, I just kind of perch onto the banister, and I just watch that little spot.
Okay. After a little bit, you see the glowing forms of several of these floating out in a line to that spot, and you see they're all carrying stuff, and you see one by one they start throwing bits of wood down, and one of them, you don't know what they do. It's far enough out you can't really see what they're doing, but you see fire start to grow on the old campfire, and you see three of them. A couple of them float off, but then three of them, what they're carrying seems to be cloaks of some kind, and they unfurl the cloaks and then throw it around themselves. And as they do, their form changes into tiefling forms. And they start talking and laughing. You can't really hear what they're saying. It's distant enough, but you hear bits of it.
So her kind of just tucks her, she's sitting on she kind of tucks her legs up to put her head on her knees, and she just kind of watches what's basically a little campsite of traveling tieflings. and just remembers the ignorance of her life before all of this, and just like imagining herself and like her friends sitting around that campfire and what was, kind of saying goodbye to that memory of herself, until she kind of starts to get a little tired, and she just says thank you very much for that, and goes to bed.
Okay. Anybody else want to?
I mean, Valen goes back and probably he's going to train hard for an hour, maybe two, just because that's the only thing that really clears his mind right now.
Okay.
And I think after a couple of hours, he's physically exhausted. And he remembers a time not long after he joined the order. It was the cherry blossoms were in full bloom, and they were starting, the leaves, the petals were starting to fall. And he calls over his whatever jellyfish thing, and I'm gonna ask the same question. Are we able to like move forward, change the environment a little bit?
How so?
I just want to move time forward because it looks like it might be early spring here. Can we move it like a couple of weeks later where the petals start to fall?
Summer?
Mhm.
Or later spring?
Later spring.
I see. I believe we can accomplish that.
That's all we want.
All right. And he floats off, and about 5 minutes later, you see it start to shift, and you actually see like several rotations of the sun in rapid fire, and then it slows down, and sure enough, you start to see the petals floating down on a regular basis all around you, and warmer weather.
Mm-hmm. He finally is finding a little bit of peace in that, because it takes him back to a time when it was just simple. Like there were daily meditations, there were your chores that you had to do, but that was really the extent of his responsibility at that point. And I think after all that has happened, feeling that sense of just ease feels nice.
Yeah.
And it kind of relaxes him enough to where he can fall asleep and probably find a restful sleep.
Yeah, that sort of peaceful nostalgia is strong. As it's not just sight, you smell the blossoms. And it smells like that mix of cherry blossom and mist that is unique to that area. And taking one of the petals, catching it in the air and feeling the softness in your fingers is soothing and just anchors you viscerally to home, to your foundation.
Yep.
Foundation of what you've become, before, and even what you've returned to after Alanya.
Yep. I think before falling asleep, he actually would try to meditate really for the first time, like peaceful, not like a repetitive motion kind of thing, because he's viewed the sparring as like a form of meditation for him. But now it's actually getting in his meditative pose and posturing his body and his mind in a way that helps him focus on just calming everything down. And I think there's probably varying degrees of success in that. It's not perfect. It's not like it was before, but
It's a mixed experience.
Yeah, there's still flashes of what has happened, but he's able to, I think, recapture some of the foundations and basics that he learned when he was just starting his journey as a monk, and it's helping him relearn the process.
Yeah, it's still very much a haunted mind that you have now. But doing this exercise, it's like the first glimmer of remembering.
Mm-hmm.
You've been taught how to control your fear, how to control your thoughts and the unruliness of your thoughts. And when your thoughts and emotions get out of control, you've been taught how to manage that and how to work that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And you know it's going to be a journey.
Yep.
This is like working out when your muscles have atrophied. But it's like the first glimmer of like, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I can get there.
Yeah, because he was genuinely scared of his response at the farmhouse. Like, it scared him. Because he knows that anger is there, that the rage is there, but he's always had his focus and discipline to fall back on, like, essentially not letting it run him. And in that instance, it got a hold of him, and he just freaked out and was like, I need to figure this out.
So after the time, you head to bed.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. The Book of Lost Magics that we had taken from the wizard, is it still in my bag or did it disappear?
If you took it, it should still be.
Yeah, so now dropped everything at our feet.
I mean, it was a book that I had put in my bag personally. It was
Oh, okay.
The Lost Magics. So I would like to start. I have some downtime. I'm gonna read some of that shit.
Do it.
Something about plant stride, and I'm like, I'm a druid. I want to know how to plant stride myself.
Sure.
So I would like to try and do some reading.
Okay.
Time for us to bring teleportation magic back to this world.
Let's cause problems.
Uh-huh. For the game specifically.
Yeah. Like, he introduced it.
Uh-huh.
We're just taking full advantage of his introduction. We said, oh, bet.
Mm-hmm.
Lost Magics. Yep. You took more than one book, right? You took several.
We did, but that's the one I have in my inventory other than the tome that she gave me. But she gave me, what's it?
And they took the blood magic with them.
Yeah, they took the blood magic one with them.
Yes.
I have a tome of
That was
something.
other magics.
Of
So
divine.
Lost Magics, yeah. So there are a few books exploring some of its speculation, some of it historical around long-range teleportation and plane shifting. Speculation on how the magics may have worked. Some of them are drier, like recordings of scholarly exploration trying to rediscover that magic or reinvent that magic. And a lot of it is recording just how dangerous experimentation in it is. That even if you quote-unquote succeed, you could very easily find yourself teleported into a pool of lava in the fire plane. And then you're gone. It's
Yeah.
like, or underwater in the water plane and with no preparation for water breathing, and so you drown. It's like, or much worse. There's transportation into other planes, especially blindly, is it's extremely dangerous. It's like a really good archer shooting up into the air and then trying to hit himself. Like it's just, or with a bunch of arrows, like firing them straight up. It's like rare that you're not going to get killed. And long-range teleportation has a lot of danger around it too. Lots of stories of people transporting only part of themselves, and just kind of or teleporting themselves to their destination, but inside a wall, or all kinds of horrific things that happen. And so there's a lot of different methods, a lot of different routes of experimentation that go into it and everything like that, but none, even if somebody looked promising, they usually died before anybody could figure it out, and a lot of failed routes. So basically there's a reason it's still lost, even though it existed for a long time. But they also talked about some of the impact it had, that the Empire of Sun and Moon in particular, recognizing the danger it had, basically made it a very controlled magic. And so for the most part it was controlled by the Empire and used comparatively sparsely, meaning it wasn't just that anybody could transport anywhere at any time. Like the public at large typically didn't have access to it. It was mainly military or like important stuff getting transported. But there was more, activity of like trades with other planes and stuff that was happening and things of that nature. And then of course once the Void Blade was gone, which the Becks don't mention, that the Empire did seize all of that magic and sealed it away somewhere. There's some other ones like Spirit Binding, which is also speculated to still exist in Northfire by the Nori people, but it's protected, so like they won't teach it to anybody outside of except Nori people. So it's been frustratingly hard to learn anything about it, but it seems to be one of the only examples in the universe of permissible usage of dead spirits to power magic, where like ancestral magic and stuff like that, actually like ancestors linked to the living are able to provide magical power. But it's not necromantic. It's a whole different school of magic, so to speak. And then Runecraft, which is also another one that's completely lost as far as I can tell, but just a civilization in the past that could craft runes that facilitated magical power even for people who didn't have magic. But with the destruction of that nation thousands of years ago, most of that was lost, and even what little remained, the people who had it didn't understand it, and it just eventually got lost. And so it's basically just kind of vague, very ancient histories talking about it, not really any kind of how-to or anything like that.
Nothing about druids, like druid magic.
Not of the ones you took, no.
Okay. So it's information about teleportation, not actual teleportation information.
Right.
That sucks.
Syntax.
I don't want a history of the lost magic. I wanted the secrets of the lost magic.
Reverse engineer it. Just
Right.
this
No, I
is
mean,
how
it's a library of an extremely intellectual guy who is interested in all these different things to
Yeah, I
see
just thought
what
maybe
he
he was
can
like,
learn.
oh, I found the magic.
Pretty much, yeah.
He's a wizard.
Alright.
And that's part of it. You learn what everybody else tried, so that you don't try that. And what didn't work,
Noted. Don't bury yourself in the ground thinking that the ground will take you to your location.
Right. Okay. And if something else comes up related to any of that, we can possibly use those as, advantageous for that. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
It's an open book test, is what you're saying.
Oh, I'm gonna take that test. It's gonna happen.
Okay. Anything else you guys are wanting to do tonight?
Nope.
Okay. So then, you guys kind of eventually fall into your respective sleeps. probably feeling more safe than you have in a while, more, you know, as strange as this experience is, you don't get the impression that you're in any danger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like this is a whole realm away from danger. Like this is a whole different plane from all the danger you've known, and it's a whole different retreat. And so I'd say you probably sleep fairly soundly, despite maybe it takes a while to fall asleep for some of you, as you have a lot to process and a lot that's been dumped on you in a relatively short time. But
Keep the flower like on the stand, like the nightstand, and I'm like looking at it as I fall asleep.
but yeah, once you do fall asleep, it's a relatively sound sleep, and so you wake up in your various environments. What looks like your environment showing you morning.
Stone feels surprised and relieved that there's no dirt in his boots.
Yeah.
Two together.
And I didn't fuck with you.
Yeah, strange how you're away from the rest of the party and your boots don't have dirt.
It's not lost on me.
During the night, I sent one of our little floating friends to put pebbles.
We're not retconning. You didn't do it.
I know I did. You just see one of the little floating friends with a pebble, like. I still get up early though to do my morning workout.
Okay.
I basically ask for a place that I can just like run in like an infinite like open space.
Sure.
And just like get like scenery coming through me. Like basically like I'm on a treadmill with like scenery just passing me.
Yeah, I mean there's forest trails, there's like canyon trails, there's all kind, like almost any environment you can want.
Yeah,
snowy mountain
I
trails.
literally just say like random play. I do the morning Peloton random play. Just let it roll. I just need to run.
Okay.
I don't really care what environment passes me by.
Well, one of those creatures
simulations.
will lead you through, like, basically through several different places. They'll
Yeah,
just kind of
that's
float in front of you, and you just follow. And,
Yeah. Yes. Getting my
act
morning
as a
running.
guide and run you through pretty long trails. And, it's like it's long enough that it strikes you again just how big this place actually is. And you just get the impression that as you stare off in the distance, it's not an illusion of distance. It's like, no, I could run over there. It's like, okay.
It's not a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like go back and like take a bath and get my clothes and all that stuff.
Okay. So, your morning routine's finished, feeling moderately refreshed. You make your way back and find your way back to Indurial, who has another desk now set up across his office. He hasn't actually cleaned up anything.
Just to get me a new desk.
Yeah, he just set up a new desk.
Yeah.
And Adondra is sitting across from them, and they're just kind of conversing quietly as you guys walk in, and he says, "Good morning.
Good morning.
Wait.
I hope you found adequate rest.
Yes, thank you.
Are you ready to depart then?"
Yeah, I think
As
so.
will ever be, I guess.
I have decided to make a one-time allowance, at least temporarily. Though I admit I've put a bit of a sigil in case that decision changes. On Enthras, she has not yet decided whether to join us or not. Normally I would wipe her memory, but considering all things, I've decided to at least temporarily delay that until she makes a decision or until enough time passes. So, with that in mind, if you're ready to depart.
Adondra's with us? I think so, yes. Karandia waits.
All right. You'll be transported. I'm afraid I can't transfer you directly to Elderwood, but it won't be too far.
That's fine.
That's okay.
So, well, if you're ready, you can join hands, and as you do, Adondra says, "Thank you. I'm sorry it's not a better circumstance that we meet."
Will you be staying here
Yes.
for the foreseeable? Okay.
I'm glad we found you.
Me too.
Hopefully next time we see you, we'll be able to have good news.
I hope so.
Take care.
You as well.
Oh, before we go, could I have a lock of your hair?
I'm sorry to disappoint, Stoic. I'm not even human. I don't think it would work.
It's...
I'm flattered.
No, it's because you are. I'm starting a strange collection of objects from other planes, and you happen to be from another plane or realm. I don't know what your realm is or where, but it does qualify you. So, if I were to keep a small locket of your hair,
Because that phrase made it 100 times better.
You're the lucky winner.
You sound so creepy when you say it like
no,
that.
it's bad.
And Duriel says, "Do you mind expounding a bit, perhaps?"
I mean, okay, so we have a new toy, and I didn't want you to take it away from us, but basically, we have a toy that may allow us, or will allow us to change planes. But we need an object from that plane to get there, which is why I asked you if you had anything from the Abyss earlier.
Truly.
Yeah, it's kind of badass.
May I see it?
Only if we can have it back. Valid?
I don't think I have it. I think
It's in
you
the
actually
bag.
have it.
You have it.
It's in the bag.
Yeah, okay. I think Sarah had the bag. I don't think Valen has the bag.
It was given to you.
Somebody needs the bag now.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, if you want
I'm
I'll
keeping-
hold it, you manage it.
Yeah, I'm still keeping track of what's in it.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
then I'll
Like, just
hold it.
because it had become something that I was
Sure,
managing,
okay.
but
Well, that's the case.
Stoic has possession.
Then
yeah, but I can't
Okay.
physically hold on to it because it has gold in there and
That's
it
fine.
made my body.
That's fine. And I pull out the
Heave.
mortal and pestle.
Okay. So he takes it and fascinating. It's and he takes it, and Adondra kind of walks over and looks over at curiously, and she says, "Oh, oh." And they have another conversation.
Mom and dad are like,
Yeah, the adults
"These
are
kids
talking right now."
crazy. Like, we shouldn't let them
It's
play
a
with
bunch of
this.
slow eye blinks, and yet they've said everything they need to say to each other.
And so Andriel walks over to his desk and sets it down, and you see him kind of wave his hand and cast a spell, and then I see. Well, I suppose I'm going to have to acquire some new holy water.
Because it can't be near holy water.
Yeah.
'cause
It just,
Oh.
yeah.
I forgot about that. Well,
It can't be near holy water.
Turns holy water to mundane
yeah,
water.
it destroys holy water.
it's kind of semi-evil, but like,
Sucker.
We're so slowly lose our souls over the course of using it. That's no big deal, though.
No
you
big
know.
deal. Oh.
Well, and he hands it back to you.
Thank you.
And Adondra says, just be careful. The Hag Mother was one of the... She was one of the first... she was one of the... She was an Alithian. It's a long story, but she was evil. The Hag Mother. If you've heard of hags, they all descended from her.
We've met hags.
Oh, I'm sorry for that. That's not a good...
No. It was a very not good.
Yeah, one of our party members may have made a deal with them, and then we broke that deal. That party member's not with us, so we're not in immediate danger, but...
That's probably not going to be very good for them.
No. And to be honest with you, if everything goes well, we'll never have to use that. We're not intending to use the Mortal and Pestle, but with things the way that they are, and multiple realms being in play, we thought it might be a nice thing to hold on to.
Yeah, just be careful. Like I
Why?
said, the Hag Mother was evil. She was...
Will it hurt the person who's using it?
Is it cursed in some way?
And she looks at Induriel, who says, "It does not seem to be, and my magic for identifying such things is much stronger than average. But I would not claim to be quite as powerful as she was, so there's always a risk. But I suppose my biggest caution would be that its transportation between planes is not, well, it's random, seemingly. So even if you transfer yourself to that plane and end up in the right plane, there's no telling where. So you should be very prepared, because you don't know where it will take you and what circumstance you might find yourself in. So I would personally not use it unless you are prepared and perhaps desperate.
That's kind of the plan, but...
Desperate is something that we are very good at.
So with all that knowledge being up front now, would I be able to have a small lock of your hair?
Although, and I should also note, it seems... it seems that it will expand enough to enter into, and maybe two of you could fit in. And that is how you travel. So it
Two
will
at
not
a time?
be enough to travel.
Would need to be at a time.
The planar travel will not be enough for the whole party to travel.
Unless I turn us all into scorpions. I already have a plan for that.
Okay. You're good. You're good. Alright.
So, be mindful
Mass
of
polymorph.
Yeah.
that
Does that
and how it
exist?
works before you
I think if
find
you cast
yourself
it up,
in
you
a
can
dire
target more than one
situation where
creature.
you need to act fast and
So-
suddenly find it doesn't work the way you expect.
And I can hold it in my wild shape,
Sure.
the spell, so I could polymorph two people.
But yes,
and then-
a creation of
myself.
such an evil creature is always a risk, but it does not seem to be. And the transport via plant seems to work the way it seemed to have worked in the past.
Okay.
Though I personally have not traveled that way, so.
So, Adondra, could I have some of your hair?
I will if you want, but I don't go there.
I don't intend to. I don't want to. I just like having options and possibilities. You can ask them. I collect tons of weird stuff that I don't use.
That actually is valid, yeah.
I have a jar full of eyeballs. I don't know whose they are.
Well, and she looks at Anduriel and says, "You've always tended to collect the weird ones." And you see her just seemingly out of nowhere, like, to basically create a lock of threads. And with a quick motion, she kind of twists it and then like weaves it really quickly into what looks kind of like a braid, and then hands it to
Thank you. Which I have like 15 vials, so I'm putting that in the vial.
All right.
World
Break out your label maker.
World Spider
Adondra.
Thread. In a vial. I'm very happy. I don't ever have to use it, but just knowing that I can brings me such joy.
Yeah, like I said, that place is full of dark fire now. I would not.
Yeah. No.
Don't go there. I don't think you. And just to really drive it home, like I said, it's not fire. When it burns you, it's not burning you, it's consuming you. And it consumes your soul. So.
Very well aware.
Yes. All right. Well, like I said, thank you. Good luck.
A pleasure.
And Duriel says, and if we should all pull through this and this crisis is successfully averted, maybe perhaps I can work out a bargain to acquire that from you. I should very much find it handy.
We'll negotiate the trade. The word Christ does not sit well on her tongue right now.
Then let us all survive long enough to do so.
That's the plan.
All right.
Back to holding hands.
Yep. Until next time.
Good luck.
Thank you.
I'll make sure I hold Enfys's hand.
I've got balance. And I've got yours.
I'm in the middle.
All right. And so, with that kind of familiar tug at your gut, you feel everything blur around you, and then you find yourself the air suddenly warmer, as you find yourself now in the midst of the ruins of what looks like it was a building or temple or something of some sort at one point, but is mostly kind of fallen apart and seems to be in a forest of some sort.
Is what time of day is it?
It seems to be, looking out, guess morning, like early morning.
I checked my pocket because this morning when I woke up, I made sure to grab some grass and I put it in my pocket before we worked. Is it still there?
It is not.
Damn. I had a feeling. Okay.
Yeah, you knew the stuff created their camp. But you
I just wanted to test it.
Yeah. Test.
Let's find out
Is
where we
there
are.
any sigil or anything that's like in this ruin that would identify what specifically this ruin is?
No, not in this one.
Okay. Is there a path nearby?
Yes.
Does it look like it's well worn, or it looks like it's been long
No, it
abandoned?
looks like it's been not used in a while.
What direction is the sun rising from? I mean, like basically, I'm just trying to figure out
Where
which way is north, south, east, west to my location at this moment.
Well, we'll say this. You eventually, you get your bearings and kind of make your way down this abandoned path, and you see it eventually emerges out onto a road, and it looks more well-traveled. And eventually you encounter some other travelers, and just from talking to them, figure out that, if you continue following this road, it takes you to Elduin in a few hours.
Okay.
So.
Do we get a sense of when we are?
Early morning.
I mean,
And
like,
how
when
much
is,
time's
like,
passed?
how much time has passed?
Since we were in
Since
Lorthel.
since we left Lyrandil.
Oh,
and then went to Lorthel.
I would say, as far as you know, Lorthel time works the same.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't change.
So it's only been a day since, like,
Mhm.
leaving Lyrandil.
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't get a sense if there was, like, time was a little bit hiccupy there.
Mm-hmm.
Or if we were, like, closer in time than we actually thought.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yep. On to Elduin.
Because it's by foot we can get there in a couple hours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So you start walking.
Unless we want to go faster.
Can you go faster?
I can go faster, but it lasts 8 hours, so we would. Small big spell. But I could make us go fast.
Do you want to get into town faster?
Kind of enjoying just being back in Karandia. Enjoying the walk.
Have a little bit of a leisure.
We can do it on the way out. I just really wanted to become a cloud.
Oh,
Oh, we become clouds?
Yeah. We become clouds.
Like gaseous form, or like you have an actual
Yeah,
cloud
when
spell?
it's called windwalk,
Uh-huh.
turn into clouds.
Oh wow.
Mm, Takes a minute to form into a cloud.
but you can go in and out of it, right?
Yeah, you just
so-
have to concentrate for a minute, so you can't do it in the middle of combat.
Right.
But other than that, you can go 300 feet is the speed, so it's 300 feet for 8 hours. So it's basically how far you need to go.
Uh-huh.
That's really fast.
It's like
Yeah.
so many miles if you wanted to do it the whole time.
Well,
But we can do it at the end of the day when we need to get to Ishta or
Ishi,
wherever.
yeah.
Ishi.
yeah, that's probably better. But I'll tell
But it's
you what.
8 hours, so I was like, oh, we're not going to be in.
Definitely would speed up the
But-
international travel.
Yeah.
Let's do that
But
if you
I'll
want to
tell
Ishi,
you
for
what.
sure.
It's just my big spell.
Pull out my Mary Poppins carpet.
Oh,
We could ride on this.
yeah. That's good too.
Will it?
It will draw attention.
Are they not normal?
And it
Flying carpet? No, that's
it took
not
us
normal.
2 years to find one.
Yeah.
2 years game time to find one.
If they were, I would own several.
I mean, we are the Folly of the Dark Dragon.
I mean,
We're known for being
We want to
eccentric.
turn up a little epic, just not cloud epic. I don't think.
Do you want to roll up in a carpet?
Can all 5 of us ride on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
All right.
Are you envisioning the big Aladdin entrance?
Oh, I'm totally standing on the front of it.
Okay.
You notice that I'm particularly clingy to hold on to you
Okay.
when I sit down. Like I'm a little more clingy than I used to be with you, and we used to know that I was weird clingy with you. Like,
So-
but if you definitely have a sense, it's like a little protective.
So we're gonna ride the carpet, but we're not gonna like. We're gonna like follow the trail or the road or whatever it is. We're on like 5 feet off the ground, just like, you know what I mean? Just having a Sunday drive, like, because it only goes like 30. Its speed is like 30, right? Remember
I
right?
think it
think
is.
so.
Yeah, I know it wasn't like.
Basically, our walking.
Yeah, it's
speed.
our walking speed. So we're like just 5 feet off the ground, just chilling.
Theatricality.
Yeah,
Eating grapes.
yeah. See, I know you got snacks.
Cookies.
It is faster because it's like a sustained run.
Sure,
For
sure.
a long period of time. So.
Yeah.
Me and my cookie.
Which you put, you get 10.
Yeah, I put them on. Thank you. And just assume that you also get a cookie every day.
Do we get the 10? Because we were in separate spaces from you.
Well, then we'll
That's
use her
a good
cookies
point.
to get the 10 for the day.
It's 5 from me.
5.
Yeah, so you guys get 5. I still get my 17 because I still get mine.
Uh-huh.
What does it say specifically? Does it
I
say
think
We
it
have to be in
says-
proximity.
Yeah,
30 feet?
It says
when you wake up?
You're definitely not in the proximity.
when you gain it's a short rest or a long rest.
Oh, okay.
So we could do it on this carpet right now.
Yeah. Additionally, choose up to 5 creatures that you can see. At the end of your rest, grant them 10 temp hit points.
If we can do it on a short rest, I imagine we are.
Doing that
now
on a
short
carpet, we don't have
resting.
to focus on it.
Yeah, I'd allow that.
Okay.
Amazing.
It's such a broken skill.
I love it.
That's fantastic.
Especially because I have less than half the number of hit points than the rest of you.
I forgot that I could do. I haven't been.
I'm not
doing
even.
it
I don't
short
even break
rests.
100 on hit points.
I don't either.
Dude, I skyrocketed.
I do with the 10 though. I'm at 104.
I don't. Not even close.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah.
I have
46.
half the number of hit points of everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Balance of 10.
And yes, the carpet can carry all of you plus 1. Like, so 6 people total.
Okay.
Medium creatures, basically. 800 pounds total. So they also
I know.
get
That's
kinda
why I was like.
But you're lucky, like, in a sense, like, because Bear would have taken up,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
more than half of that by himself. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know.
Big boy.
All right.
He's like, you and I barely weigh anything.
Barely weigh anything. I'm so short.
So you guys all hop on the carpet and start making your way, you know, weaving past people who you get a lot of comments and a lot of people kind of like, oh, look at that. That sort of
I'm facing like backwards, and I'm just like, good morning.
you sit like the back of a truck. You know?
My legs kicking off the back. Good morning.
I love that.
The carpet was a good idea.
There's a couple of who you hear something along the lines of, is that the Folly?
Yes.
I do take my badge out of my backpack and I put it on like my little like emblem.
So, you do make in good time at that rate, cutting a few hours down to about an hour, and eventually you see Elduin come into view and start making your way towards it. And as the traffic gets heavier, and you kind of slow down a little bit.
Sure.
We got a
You
fast
can,
pass here.
Yeah, we'll just fly over top of them.
I was gonna say you can just wave
If
the
you want
badge
to.
too.
Well, I mean, we're Hira. We can cut.
Okay.
Because I'm guessing like there's the gate and there's like a line, people like going into town. Okay. Yeah, we'll pull up a little closer and then
Okay.
dismount.
You'll just hear like, apologies.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Apologies. But I do have my emblem like very
On the left.
distinctly like placed.
So as you reach the edge of the shambles, the area
How did the
outside the
shambles
town,
look?
you start to see there's a good number of like permanent buildings that look fresh, like appearing there.
I worked so long in the shambles to help.
Interestingly, as you guys are kind of traveling through that, as people are, you're clearly garnering a lot of attention with this. There's a number of people who are looking up at the carpet, and a number of people here and there going, are either bowing or saying, "Hail the Queen."
What?
We land and roll up the carpet. Like I was kind of trying to like get to the edge of town and do that and walk because we don't want to fly in town. But I guess the shambles are kind of out of town, right?
They kind of scatter
Yeah.
through
Yeah,
like
they're
the
outside the
outer.
walls.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
the outer walls.
we'll get off at this point. Put it away.
Who?
Actually, I think Anthros would say, best do that at the gate. If this is gathering a lot of attention, let's not get surrounded by a mob.
I'm trying to gauge who.
Queen now?
I don't think they're talking about me.
Who are they talking about?
Me.
Are you a
Oh,
queen?
you said you've never been here.
No, I'm kidding.
Do I get a sense that they're talking about me?
I just really like
No,
kidding.
I think they're talking about the actual queen of Karandia now, right?
Yeah, which they might think is one of us, or think she's on the carpet. I
Or
don't know.
that we're associated with her because we helped put her into power.
Oh, yeah, we did put her in power. Okay, yeah, so we'll fly up to the gate, I guess, on Emphasis.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like who the fuck are they talking about?
You're so excited. You're like, can I be queen?
Can I be
Please let me
queen? I thought I was queen of the shambles, and I got really excited for that. I was like, yes, my power is infinite.
So, as you reach, you land near the gate.
Sure.
And the guards look you over, and you start to see recognition. They're like, "Oh, defenders, you've returned.
We have.
Mr. Songsteel, good to see you again."
Do we recognize any of the men, or the people that are making up the guard?
Little people.
Okay. I remember a lot of those faces. A lot of them fought.
Metaphorically, not actually.
Oh, okay, good.
Not in stature.
I was like, is this another race thing?
No, not in stature, just in importance.
Yeah.
Oh, and Lady Empress, good to see you. Good to see you return. This, and she just kind of nods regally, and
Pleasure to be back.
it's good to have you back in town again.
Do they recognize Valen?
Yes. Just, I assume she's with you.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Alright.
And should be treated with the same respect and access.
Of course.
So
We'll
what?
let you in.
Thank you. Is there any sort of new exciting information? Any big changes that have happened since we last saw you?
Well, I mean, there's rumors of war with Shigorith, and
Yes.
I mean, Queen Verissa's still in charge. I think most people think she's doing all right.
Good.
Straight shooter.
How's
That
the
one.
rebuild?
Hmm?
How's the rebuild?
It's coming along. Yeah. Versus she's a hard one, but she gets stuff done. I think that's what people need right now.
Yes.
Yeah, I suppose things are happening.
Otherwise, everyone is well.
I suppose so.
Okay.
Where should we go first?
Why not go home first? Or do we want to see Verissa first?
That was kind of my thought. Like, I'd rather her hear it from us that we're in town before the rumors.
I'm sure she's already heard the rumblings at the gate.
Sure.
News travels fast in this town, but I would say let us make our official hellos to the town first.
Well, and report. Empress, were you having communication with the Queen while we were gone?
Well, I checked in occasionally, but not since losing Spectre.
So does she know what we were involved in the other country?
Well, no, I didn't know what you were involved in until I got there.
That's true.
I would say we keep some-
Easy and Bear and
I'd say let's keep some things to ourselves. But we should let her know about what we know about Shigorith, but also about the current political system in Derendil, because
yeah, and the king's dead and the rebels, and we don't have to explain our role in it.
no, we don't have to get the details, but I think it's important that she understands what the power on the opposite side of the country, especially because they are dealing with the awakens, and Karandia might be dealing with the Shigoriths. It's a lot of mayhem.
Look, if you're all in a hurry, I'd be happy to pay a visit myself and give a lot of that news to her. And
I wouldn't mind to not have to have the
Yeah.
conversations.
We'd like to go home. We've been on the road a long time.
of course.
And we need to pack quickly
Mm-hmm.
to get back on the road again, sooner rather than later.
Well, it's not the packing, it's the gathering of the resources that's going to take longer than anything else.
Well, that's why I said packing. I meant it in the sense of like gathering the
Yeah.
goods.
Yeah, getting everything together.
Still think we should check on our homestead first.
That's right on then.
That's fine.
If you're
Yes, we'll-
comfortable with kind of being our liaisons, I guess. Give our regards to the Queen.
Certainly. But I assume you're going to drop me off closer than this.
Of course. Technically your house is after our house, but We can make a loop around.
Yeah, well, I still think we should walk while in town.
That's what I said.
Okay.
Loop as in to walk a loop, because her house is closer to the castle than ours. So we have to pass our house to get to her house, and then we loop around and can head back.
Yeah, nobody likes to backtrack.
Okay.
The Greenwood Manor is further back into the upper area than...
It's been 2 years. I don't have this place mapped out.
I have it memorized in my head where things are in this town.
So,
Tara, not Sarah. Tara has this memorized because I kept asking questions about where we were.
I think I posted a map of Eldon.
Oh yeah, you did post the street map of the whatever, the Leaf District, whatever it's called.
Well, the whole city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you guys begin making your way through the crowded street, but familiar streets of Elduin. For Abuelita, the first time you're seeing this, it's a fairly large city. The center, the capital of Karandia, which is a decently profitable or prosperous country, but not prosperous as in everybody's rich, but prosperous as in, you might think of it as a mostly middle class nation, if there's such a thing. There's a lot of Karandians are very practical people, and and this is the center of a nation that just kind of operates well. And you see, as you go through this, you see a lot of damage throughout the city, and evidence of damage being repaired. So you see a mix of old buildings and new buildings. You see buildings that are half new, repairs. You see lots of buildings that are still destroyed or collapsed. Just lots of evidence of what seems like a lot of violence that happened here. Claw marks and stains on the walls and different things, on the cobblestone, and still lots of evidence of something happening here. As you progress through the city, a good number of people greet you in particular.
Oh, because you're...
I had a double.
I had a double.
Your shadow.
And greet you like a friend, like they're happy to see you. And a few of them don't greet you the same way, but pass by and give you a strange gesture. Just this.
Oh no.
Yeah, he doesn't hesitate. The friendly ones is fine. The first one that probably no, the second one that walks by him and does this, I will stop them. And, excuse me, can I have a moment of your time?
Yes.
I'm feeling a little under the weather today, and I woke up and my head's a little foggy. Can you please remind me what that means?
I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
You're failing this test.
I was told to say that.
I know you were.
Yeah.
Who do you think was the one that told you to say that?
You.
But now, I'm making sure that you even still remember what it means.
Raw deception.
With my plus 12?
I want to be in that one.
Nope. It's oh damn, it's 18.
I don't know what's going on here. So, I'm sorry if I did something wrong. I'm gonna go down. And he turns and walks off.
Kill him.
No. I've matured. Old Stoic would have chased his ass down. But I'll let him go.
He rolled really high.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Because I had a vision of my old Stoic disappearing, right?
Well, you heard him, yeah.
Okay. There are some people making some weird gestures at me.
Well, I clocked
notice
it, don't
that.
worry. It wasn't subtle. I'll put my ear to the ground.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someone at home may know a little more.
We'll get to it.
God, was he living in our house?
Who?
The other him.
I don't know.
There was another you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the doppelganger.
We'll have
Did my shadow
thousands of things.
My shadow disappeared before you left the party.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, you saw him.
So-
He's trying to get taken away.
Remember when my shadow disappeared? Karandia is where it went.
Okay.
And my shadow was taking the form of me, unbeknownst to me.
And it was very popular.
So everyone thinks I've been here while we've been gone. And I don't know what he's done, what he's said, what he's established. I think it
good.
might be some kind of a fight club.
Should I follow that guy? I could follow that guy. See if he does anything.
Later.
Yeah, later. I don't think that the symbol, the gesture necessarily means he's ne'er-do-well. So I don't. Until we find out a little more information, I don't think we should spook anybody.
I'm very sneaky.
I know you are. Like, we didn't even know you were there the first time we met.
I know, I'm really sneaky.
We'll put it on our back pockets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because also we're going to be clouds at some point, and I'm
Yes,
very
we are.
terrified and excited for that.
I'm gonna rain on someone.
Don't rain on my parade. Don't tell me.
I was thinking like the biology.
Take a piss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. I mean,
Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining.
So you continue on through the city, making your way through that river of people, making your way through the markets and the main districts, eventually reaching the Leaf District where they let you in without issue, recognizing who you were. And into the Leaf District, what you notice is a marked difference. This is obviously where the wealthy people of the city live. Very nicely fitted,
The
paved
gated
stone. Yeah, there's an inner wall blocking it off from the rest of the city. Every house in here is very nice, very well taken care of. Most of them big, but there's a variety of sizes, and a lot of them with their own walls and courtyards and all kinds of stuff. It's a very nice area. But you eventually make your way to, and I should say, one point at a crossroads, Enthris says, "Well, I'll find you later."
yeah, I'll write you. Catch up.
Right me. We parting ways for good.
Pretty sure she knows that that's how I speak to her.
Her name's. Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, her name's Mama.
Of course it is.
Yeah, her. Like, and I'm actually, I'm
Yeah,
really.
that's my bad.
Yeah, no, I'm really upset because I really should have gotten her boyfriend to write.
Oh yeah.
Listen, I thought about it so many
Well,
times. I was like, oh.
I wasn't going to because I didn't want to be the middleman, but then I realized that, like, we don't have any connections in that country.
Can we retcon it and just have him write his name in?
No.
No, that's a little far back. But the
Yeah,
problem
that's
is so it went up, and I can now have 6 names, or 5, and I only have 3. So I have 2 open slots that we're not utilizing that we should probably utilize. But
All right. Okay, so you part ways with her.
yeah.
And you make your way just a little bit further to Elder Gate.
Mm-hmm.
And before you even get to the gate, you see several guards standing at attention outside. And you approach, and you see that each of them are dressed in black uniforms with a silver sigil of a dragon on there. And as you approach, they look at the 3 of you and snap to attention and say, "Welcome back to Elder Gate compound."
Compound? What did you
And-
do? Don't know what I did.
As you do that, you look through the gate into the courtyard, and inside you see like an individual who's apparently delivering a bunch of boxes, and you see the dwarven figure of Godrian standing outside, who's apparently yelling at this person. And turns and as you guys are let in through the gate, he turns and notices you and says, "All right, you're back. Oh, good to see the rest of you. That isn't the Queen of the Shambles herself."
Godrian, what the fuck is this?
And that's where we're going to end things.
So you are the queen!
I do yell for Cynthia! For Cynthia! Haunt these halls, please!
Oh.
Oh, Cynthia's our ghost. I wrote down her name.
Priscilla, yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Wrote it down way long ago.
That means Nega Stoic was staying here because of the way, like, oh, you're back.
Yeah.
You're finally,
It's a compound now?
Yeah, you are getting the distinct impression that a lot of people know you, and a lot of people are reacting to you in a very different way.
Yeah.
The fuck is... I'm a queen! What the fuck is going on? We leave this country for a couple months and you come back royalty.
Did you say it was 2 years?
No,
In real life.
In real time.
Oh, okay.
It's
I
been
was
like 6 months,
This has
8
been a long
months,
time.
10 months.
9, I think it's like 9.
Yeah, it's been less than a year since we
Okay.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep.
And like the biggest thing I was doing before we left, besides like pining over you and like causing you problems, was I was just helping out the Shambles to rebuild, and like I'm starting to build a network of my own of like how do I learn how to build like my own like secret network the way Hodressa has a network.
And now you have.
Amazing.
And now I have a whole I am a queen of the Shambles.
Yep. So, we will be back in a week to figure out what that means, along with what's going on with Stoic, and learn more about Karandia's happenings since they left, and see them continue on to Ishti and eventually the Abyss.
Amazing.
So, we'll be back next week. Talk to you soon.
Yep.
Bye. Adios, arrivederci.